to Barber Motorsports Park. We're here for round 11 and 12 of GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. We're in Birmingham, Alabama, where rich motorsports tradition meets Southern hospitality at one of the most picturesque circuits in all of the world. Barber isn't just a racetrack. It's a living museum with rolling hills, manicured grounds, and sculptures woven through the landscape. What's your favorite? And if that isn't already enough, it's also home to the largest collection of motorcycles in the world. Say hello to Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum, a Guinness World Record holder since 2014. Pretty cool, right? On track, Barber is pure driver's territory. 17 corners, relentless elevation changes, and blind entries that demand rhythm, courage, and precision. For 90 minutes, traffic management becomes an art form. And with the Indianapolis 8-hour up next, this is the last sprint weekend on the season with 50 crucial championship points available in all 3 classes. In the Pro Championship, the title fight stays alive, with Random Vandals Kenton Cook and Connor DeFilippi battling JMF Motorsports Mackay Stevens and Mikel Grenier all the way to the finale. In Pro-Am, Justin Rothberg and Robbie Foley carry the advantage, but one stumble could swing things to DXDT's Matt Bell and Blake McDonald. And it'll come down to the wire for the AM category of AF Courses Jay Schreibman and Oz Negri trying to hold off Dolahite Racing's Scott Dolahite in a Ford versus Ferrari showdown that'll settle in Indianapolis. So whether you're trackside or joining us from home, buckle in because we're ready for world-class racing from the heart of Dixie. Y'all come back now.
Barber Motorsports Park is recognized as the Augusta National of Motorsports for obvious reasons. There's the sheer beauty of both facilities, the pristine conditioning, but I think it digs a little bit deeper than that. To have success at the Masters is all about positioning the golf ball off the tee so you can then hit your targets. I think it's the same thing with this racetrack. Your lines are so important. Hitting your marks is critical to a good lap time here. Our caddy for the day is Robbie Foley, driver of the BMW M4 number 29 for Turner Motorsports. Robbie, sorry about the early tee time. You're going to be our caddy here and talk us through this racetrack. It's crunch time in this championship, mate. Penultimate round. You have the lead with Justin Rothberg. How do you tackle this venue? Turn 1, high-speed corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful facility here at Barber Motorsports Park. Turn 1, very unique corner. Initially downhill, blind at the entry, and as you get to the apex, you just start to pick up some grip as you kind of drop down into that compression. But interestingly, going downhill at the turning point, the car's quite light initially as you turn the wheel. So carrying a lot of speed, high commitment corner, and then hopefully the compression here catches you at the apex. Yeah,
you talk about the compression here on the exit. Is that a safety net, or if you're in trouble, you're already out in the boonies early?
Yeah, the tone of that is kind of set early on,
right.
But you're always looking for that edge of the road, and hopefully it catches you and kind of gives you a rhythm to get back a little bit to the left for turn 2.
The challenges are just beginning. Let's move on. Robbie, we talk about how precise you have to be with your lines around this race circuit, but I love this little sector here. It's like a mini corkscrew as you approach the museum corner. Turns 7 and 8. How attacking can you get over those curves before you run into trouble through here?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful section of corners here, and it takes a bit of a unique car setup to be able to crash over those curbs, but you've got to do it to open up your radius and carry the maximum speed. But as you get down to the bottom of the hill here, at the second apex, you have a lot of grip initially in this compression, and then you sort of lose it as you exit the corner. So you got to kind of set up for the exit as well, but if you don't carry enough speed there at the top, you're going to be slow to the bottom. So it's always that game of how much speed can you carry while also getting a good exit.
And how important is protecting that left front for later in the stint and later in the run?
Huge here. This is one of those corners where you can sort of grind it off if you're too aggressive.
Right.
So you got to kind of keep it within its slip limit and kind of think about the exit and just protecting both those left side tires. If you have an understeer, you can quickly snap to an oversteer. So it's a tight balance here.
And the speed really ramps up from here. Let's move on. Robbie, as we get towards the end of the lap, the approach here to turn 12 is the fastest part on this racetrack, about 145 miles an hour approach speed. You've really got to thread the needle through here. How much of the curves do you use in this little sector?
The first curve I'm sort of staying off of. If you hit it, you can sort of put the car too far right for the bottom of the hill here. So I'm aiming for a bit of a late apex for turn 12 to open up 13. Still trying to carry maximum speed in, but if you end up driving too hard through turn 12, you end up set up wrong for here, and then you pay for it over the crest.
How much of the curb do you use here through the second phase?
Generally just a white area, white and gray area. You can get kind of beyond that, but you got to be perfect with the line. Sometimes it can kick the car sideways. So this sort of area right where we're standing now kind of sets your fate for what's going to happen at the crest.
Right.
If you got a bit too much speed and you're sort of understeering wide, you can end up just off the track at the exit in the grass. Equally, if you have that understeer, it can turn into a snap. So right about here, you sort of know where you're going to head, where you're going to end up. But yeah, great section of corners.
Good stuff, Robbie. Best of luck this weekend. So that's a look at some key corners here. Now let's ride on board with Robbie Foley for a full lap of this amazing circuit.
Here we are at Barber Motorsports Park. Come with me for a lap on our Lady Creek BMW M4 GT3. Headed into turn 1, high speed, high commitment corner here. We're going to get up to 5th gear, braking around the Onboard down to 4th, turning in early, getting into that apex, all the way out to the right side. Turn 2, long kind of double apex corner. Trying to pick up the power as early as you can here. Getting a good exit up to 4th gear, 5th gear, headed to turn 5. Really tricky braking zone as it's downhill. Braking just around the 2 or just after, down to 2nd gear. A couple different lines to pick from here. I go for the wide line this time. Carrying a lot of speed through the corner, up to 3rd gear, 4th gear. Again, just into 5th as we head to the famous museum section. Braking around the 1, down to ultimately 3rd gear, now 2nd gear as we crash over these curbs. 2nd gear, getting a nice exit under the bridge here, up to 4th gear. Headed into the kink. Just a lift in our GT3 cars, maybe flat in qualifying, we'll see. Up to 5th gear. And down into turn 12, 145 mile an hour entry. 4th gear, staying in 4th gear this lap in our BMW. And headed into the final section, 2 sort of switchback corners. 2nd gear for a brief moment, then up to 3rd gear. And just a lift off, trying to get the front end. Getting a good exit onto that front straight, and that's a lap around Barber Motorsports Park.
On a glorious late summer afternoon deep in the heart of Dixie, GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS, takes center stage. Championships coming into focus here at this beautiful venue at Barber Motorsports Park, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Beautiful weather, 73 degrees in the air, 86 degrees on track. It is a perfect setting for a championship bout, the final sprint race of the season. GT World Challenge America is just one spoke of the global GT racing wheel constructed by SRO, so let's zoom out and take a look at the world of SRO. SRO is the architect of modern GT racing, running international events all over the globe. Nothing, though, can beat the world's biggest international GT race, the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. The event is the crown jewel in SRO's 2 biggest championships, GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS, and the Intercontinental GT Challenge. GT World Challenge, however, has 4 individual championships with 30 events that take place across 4 continents, with Asia, America, Europe, and Australia featuring with some of the most famous circuits in motorsport. None more so than in Asia, where the stunning Mandalika circuit in Indonesia won lots of rave reviews. Then there's the spectacular Fuji International Speedway, located in the shadow of Mount Fuji itself. Just last weekend, the teams traveled 500 kilometers due east to the Okayama circuit, where the action was intense. The final event of the season in Asia takes place in October on the Chinese street circuit in Beijing. GT World Challenge Europe gets lots of famous name tracks too, with classic Grand Prix circuits like Brands Hatch, along with current ones like Barcelona, Spa, and Zandvoort. They also have 2 ongoing championships, Sprint and Endurance, and its own share of distinguished drivers behind the wheel, which include the legendary Valentino Rossi, who took victory in Race 1 at Misano on the Adriatic coast of Italy earlier this season. Just a few weeks ago, the 3-hour endurance race at Germany's iconic Nürburgring witnessed a massive 59-car grid and did not fail to excite. The final victory went to the Rover BMW. In Australia, the GT World Challenge began at Phillip Island Circuit, and they finished their 7-round series in New Zealand at Hampton Downs. This weekend, they're competing on the South Coast at the award-winning facility of The Bend. Race 1 happened just yesterday. The defending champions in the Aston Martin car number 1 took pole and kept the lead until the start, until Liam Talbot dropped 2 wheels off the track and had an impact into the tires. Spun, recovered, but it gave the victory to the BRM Audi squad of Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni. For America, our season opener was in Sonoma, California, then to Texas with the Circuit of the Americas, Sebring in Florida, Virginia International Raceway, and the last round at the iconic Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We conclude our 7-round championship where better than at my home track, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the Indy 8-Hour, powered by AWS, which also forms part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. It's been a busy year, and that's not all, as the results from each of these Continental Series count towards the Global GT World Challenge, a championship for 10 GT3 manufacturers competing in Asia, Europe, America, and Australia. We've still got September through November to go before the World Challenge waves its final checkered flag of the season here in 2025. Beautiful venue, beautiful sight. The rest of the world of SRO takes a step back as GT World Challenge America steps to the fore and takes center stage. It's a great grid of cars that's getting ready to go down on the grid, and a chance now to head down to the grid and get some late-breaking stories with our very own Amanda Busick.
Hey, Ryan, and yeah, not a single cloud in sight for race number 2 here in GT World Challenge, powered by AWS at Barber Motorsports Park. You'll see behind me that the grid is getting cleared, which means we're getting more and more close to the race time here in that green flag to get the last race here on the weekend completed. If you're watching from home, or if you're, I'm going to wave to you guys over in the extended fan zone underneath those trees over there. You guys look great over there if you can see us. But if you're at home watching from the venue, please go to your app store, open up the GT World Powered by SRO app. That's where you can find all the series' latest news as well as action from the track here today. And join us. We'll see you throughout the race and throughout the rest of the season. Ryan?
Big weekend for SRO with the advent of the new app. Encourage you to check it out. But it's also a big weekend here at Barber. This particular event in partnership with the University of Alabama Birmingham Medicine and the charity Teal Wings of Hope. It is a fitting month to feature Teal Wings of Hope. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and the Birmingham-based nonprofit Teal Wings of Hope is dedicated to education, awareness, and advocacy for individuals and families affected by ovarian cancer. Coming up in just a few minutes, the founder of that organization, Bob Barrett, he'll be waving the green flag of this race. He started the charity in memory of his wife, Babs, and we've done a lot of good work raising money and awareness for the cause here this weekend with a big gala on Friday night, which raised a good deal of funds to a very worthy cause. Please check them out, Teal Wings of Hope. Well, the championships, Calvin, starting to come into focus here. We've had lots of fun throughout the course of the season, but really a lot of pressure starting to mount with just 2 races left.
Yeah, and the pressure's on that front row. Mikel Grenier will start that number 34 JMF Mercedes from the pole. He's got to get in front, and the blast down to turn 1. Connor De Filippi, the championship leader, runs right alongside him in that BMW. They had a huge win yesterday, and that really extended their championship lead. JMF had to cut into that here today.
Yep, and we've got championship battles as well, and the other 2 classes that we'll chronicle over the course of this 90-minute race that's upcoming. But now, time for the pre-race festivities. Let's go trackside for the national anthem. Here's London Coy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallant that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
London Coy with the national anthem and more than a few notes that neither of us would ever be able to hit. Calvin Fish, that was super impressive. Color guard from the UA Army ROTC.
Goosebumps after that one. That was incredible.
Teams going through the motions here, getting ready for the final sprint race of the season. Championship battles coming into focus. Cal, you've been a part of some of those over the course of your career. Describe the stress. Describe what you have to go through from a preparation standpoint to be able to execute at a championship level.
Well, it depends what side of the offense you're on, Ryan. You've got to keep doing. If you're the championship leaders, keep doing what you're doing. If you're the chasers, you may have to take a few risks with strategy, things like that. You may have to get your elbows out a little bit because time is running out. We go from this one to the 8 hour. Anything can happen there. So for the championship leaders, they want to consolidate that lead by the end of the day. For the chasers, you have to cut into that. We talked about the 34 squad. If they don't beat the 99 here today, it could be game over.
And his math, it's simple enough for even me to comprehend. We'll keep an eye on it and keep a live tally of it as we go throughout the race. Let's go down back trackside again to Amanda Busick for some more interviews on the grid.
Hey, Ryan, yeah, I've caught up with the president of SRO America, Greg Gill, and there's been some announcements made of lately since we last saw the series at Road America, some schedule updates and what's happening next year, but Barber Motorsports Park stays firmly on the schedule. Why has this been such a unique stop for our series?
Well, I tell you what, we've been so excited. You know, we looked at Barber being part of a major metropolitan area, but, you know, I live in Austin, Texas, and I have to tell you, Barber is so much cooler than Austin, Texas at this point in time. We love the people. They're giving us so much fun. It's a world-class facility. They came out, they're community involved. It's a great deal to be here. The fans have been fantastic, and we're looking forward to many more years of Barber Motorsports Park.
The Indianapolis 8 hour is up next. Can you believe we're already made it this far in the season?
It's so exciting. We're going to have a record grid for the Indy 8 hour. Man, it's going to be awesome. Be there.
Hey, we're out in the wild. Thank you, Greg. Hey, wait, I'm going to stop you there. We're out in the wild with Bill Oberlin. You're getting recorded for social media, so I'm going to grab you for our stream. Bill, getting ready and locked in for this race. As you approach Barber Motorsports Park today, compare yesterday to right now.
Well, a little bit tougher job because we're starting a little bit further back. So we have a special strategy we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Let me tell you. I'm not going to tell you. But we have a great team, a great car. You see how fast it was yesterday. Our sister car won. We were basically P2 for most of the race and got bumped off, went to P3. The trick is, again, like I said, support our sister car, get them the championship, but if we can win at the same time, we're going to try our very best. You know, these Random Vandal guys and girls, they never give up, and we always do the best we can.
Now, but what insights were you sharing with social media?
Oh, well, it's a post. It was about advice that I got in racing, the best advice he ever got, which was from a guy named Dennis Ozzie. He's an old-time racer, and he said, whenever you get past or somebody passes you, give them the thumbs up. They'll love you the next time. That was what she was saying.
Good luck today to Bill Oberlin. I did see Justin Rothberg walking around as well. I told him to stick around so I could chat to him. Will Turner, is he still around, or did he leave me? All right, Will, I'm going to talk to you then. Some big points implications for you guys. We were trying to math, but we decided not to math. Most likely pushed to Indy, but how proud are you of this team right now?
Super proud. You know, we definitely don't want to count any chicken tacos on where the championship could go, because if you remember last year going into Indy, we didn't think we had a chance. So we're just going to take it race by race and see what happens, but super proud of the team. Justin and Robbie are doing fantastic, and we'll see if we can get some valuable points this weekend.
And what about those tacos?
Well, if we win, we celebrate with tacos, and if we don't win, we celebrate with tacos, so it doesn't matter.
Tacos either way with some chips and salsa and queso, maybe? All right, we'll see what happens with the Turner Motorsports team today. And another BMW looking to add to their point situation. Well done to you guys yesterday. And I remember talking to you in the winner's circle, and I told you that Calvin Fish was saying that you were just racing at a different level this year. Kenton, as you push forward through, as we get closer and closer to Indianapolis, where is this team right now?
Well, I think everyone's firing on all cylinders right now. I mean, we've performed quite well the last couple events here. The guys have been working really hard. Like I said, at the on the podium over there, we've thrown a lot of changes at them, and getting the changes done on this car takes a lot of time, and they done it in record time. So, really grateful to have a crew that is doing so well. We've got Big Kev over there at the door. That's kind of head on our car, and Derek and Tim, who he does some of the carbon repair that we have to sometimes use. But you know, that's racing, and hopefully we don't have to use too much of that Tim knowledge on carbon repair to get by the 34. But you know, we'll do it as clean as we can, and hopefully we can finish ahead of them to make our job a little bit easier. But it's going to be fierce.
And just quickly, the sister car. Bill told us that they're going to try to help you as much as you can. Do you appreciate that on track?
Of course. I mean, when Bill says that, you know how aggressive he wants to be and how much he wants to win. He's always fired up. And, you know, he's a team player, and very grateful to have someone of his knowledge and experience on the program. I mean, he's been around for a long time and always has many good things to add to the program. And, yeah, I mean, he's the reason why we're really in the position we are as well. So it takes a team, and really glad that we've got the shot here at this weekend to hopefully make our job easier for Indy. But, yeah, we're looking forward to Indy no matter what.
They already locked down one yesterday, and it was the first win for Connor DeFilippi, now as a husband. Let's take a look at highlights from yesterday here at Barber Motorsports Park.
It was a beautiful day, perhaps a bit warmer yesterday than it is here today, but the field roared to life, and Philip Ellis at its head. Another tremendous qualifying performance. He's perfect on the season. He led the field to the green flag. It was side by side down into turn one very early on. Big move by Mackay Stevens trying to grab the second spot. This was Diego Gomez going for a wild ride in his first ever start in the championship, able to recover and to get that car back on track. Battle for the AM Championship is a fierce one, Ford versus Ferrari. More on that in a moment. That was the race leader, pushing it to the edge and over it. Philip Ellis able to corral an ill-handling race car in the early stages and actually built a massive gap. Battles here. This was after the pit stops. Mikhail Grenier to the inside of Varun Choksi. Varun's tires not quite up to temperature. Big move there in the championship for JMF. Big move here too, as we saw Robbie Foley doing battle with Matt Bell. This was for the lead in Pro-Am. Foley across the bow. He took the spot and disappeared off into the distance, helping them break a little bit of a winless streak, but back on the top step of the box yesterday. Overall lead of the race changed hands late. It was Jeff Burton doing the closing duties for Regulator Racing. He had this wild ride and then dropped a little bit further back after contact here with Darren Turner. Turner able to recover, and a few laps later put the pass on Burton for position as Burton continued to plunge down through the field. Aaron Thielitz able to follow Turner through for a spot as well. The newlywed Connor DeFilippi capped off a dominant performance for the Random Vandals team. He saw the checkered flag first in the AM class. Eric Powell capped off a strong drive and a recovery drive for the Dollarhide Racing team, and Turner parked it in victory lane as well, with the combination of Rothberg and Foley. GT World Challenge America, part of a global GT World Challenge Championship for GT3 manufacturers. At the end of yesterday's race here at Barber, these were the standings. Mercedes-AMG over Porsche, then BMW, Ferrari in fourth, and Audi Sport shown in fifth, with championship points being scored across the four global GT World Challenge Championships here in America, as well as Europe, Asia, and Australia. More points to be scored, of course, here in this race that is upcoming. Let's head down trackside for the command that will start engines for the final sprint race of the 2025 season.
Driver, start your engines.
Awesome job by Ezra Hardy. to bring the engines to life. And we're about to go for the final 90-minute race in GT World Challenge America history. The format switches to 3-hour races on a single race per weekend basis next year. We've got the Indy 8 hours still to come this year, so final chance to buckle up and see this hard-hitting, fast-paced format here, Calvin Fish, this 90-minute racing format that's been so successful over the past few years.
It's been a great format, plenty of exciting racing. Final one is going to be a thriller, I think. There's a lot on the line. Drivers are ramped up for this one. They know they have to make some moves here. And talk about this racetrack being difficult to pass on. That has not been the case this weekend. We've seen a lot of great racing.
No question, this place has proven to be quite raceable, even though it was designed for motorcycles by Alan Wilson. Place opened in 2003. Started welcoming cars about a decade or so later, not quite that much actually, a few years later, with IndyCar primarily coming here, but some sports car history, which then went fallow for a time until SRO America returned 1 year ago, and it proved to be popular between the teams, the drivers, and the fans. Excited to see what unfolds here today. These are the pole sitters in the respective classes. Mikael Grenier got it done for JMF Motorsports. For GMG, the Pro-Am pole courtesy of Tom Sargent, who has been remarkably quick all weekend long. And Dollarhide Racing a sweep of the pole positions this weekend in the AM class, this time courtesy of Eric Powell. Starting grid coming your way next. It's an all-pro class front row with the Canadian Mikael Grenier on the row of pole position. He'll have Connor DeFilippi, winner yesterday, alongside in the front row. To the second row then, that's where you find the Pro-Am pole sitter Tom Sargent, young Charger Aaron Thielitz alongside. Really good qualifying effort for Aaron and the Archangel Motorsports McLaren. Then it's Robbie Foley, who drove to the lead and the win in Pro-Am yesterday. Jan Halen, the Pro Class entry, starts 6th. Row number 4, Matt Bell, DXDT Racing, so close but came home 2nd yesterday. And Varun Choksi, who had the fastest lap in the Pro Class in race 1. Isaac Sherman for CRP Racing rolls off in 9th. The veteran Darren Turner alongside for the Heart of Racing team. They'll start in the 10th place. Aaron Povoleto for Suez Povoleto Racing lines up in 11th. Then it's the M-Class pole sitter Eric Powell trying to chip away at the championship deficit to Oz Negri and Jay Schreibman. They'll line up 13th today next to Jeff Burton and Marcelo Hahn, set to roll off out back in the AF Corsa Blau-sponsored Ferrari 296. Plenty still at stake, and a whole lot to unfold before our eyes over the next 90 minutes, an hour and a half, with a pit stop right in the middle for tires, fuel, and a driver change. Execution at a premium in a short sprint race format like this one.
All of these drivers getting used to the new Pirelli P0 that was debuted here in North America, at least, at Road America just one event ago. They're learning fast, and preparation of those tires is absolutely imperative on these formation laps. Use the gas pedal against the brake pedal, try and generate some inner core temperature to that tire. Pickup is also an issue, so you got to be really scrubbing these tires in, make sure you don't get any pickup on these tires prior to hitting that first corner at speed.
This racetrack dreamed up by George W. Barber, local businessman and motorsports enthusiast. It's an 880-acre multi-purpose racing facility designed at first with motorcycles in mind, but four-wheel motorsport has flourished here as well. It's almost a national park when you look at just how well maintained it is around this place. People liken it to Augusta National, the famed golf course just down the road. Up in the flag stand, overlooking it all, is Bob Barrett, founder of Teal Wings of Hope. Great partners, great charity, great cause. And we're supporting this weekend in conjunction with the University of Alabama, Birmingham Medicine. And he'll have a great viewpoint from which to watch the start of today's race. The field starting to get into its alignment. Mikael Grenier needs to have a big day, needs to finish ahead of the 99 to stay in the hunt. Then it's Sargent and Thielitz there in the second row. Foley and Halen make up row number 3. The Corvette of Bell, the BMW of Choksi back in row number 4, position 7 and 8, while Isaac Sherman and Darren Turner complete the top 10. Field in good alignment coming through the final sequence of corners. This downhill plunge that leads to a short pit straight and the drag race to turn number 1. In the flag stand, waiting to wave that green flag. Here we go. There's the green. The race is on. Mikhail Grenier gets away cleanly. DeFilippi under attack here from Sargent. Does close off that line of attack there for the second position. It's Thielitz hanging tough around the outside in the McLaren, going for the lead in class.
He is. He's trying to get it tucked into Sargent. Now Sargent gets alongside Connor DeFilippi. Almost runs out of road there, side by side. Elbows out on the opening lap.
Sargent with a great run up the hill. Some contact between the Porsche and the BMW. Both late on the brakes on cold tires, but the preferred line to the Porsche man. Tom Sargent trying to take the spot away, but DeFilippi will not go quietly into the night. He's still alongside it, powers out back ahead, back into second place overall.
What a launch Connor DeFilippi got there off of turn 5. I thought he was done and dusted, and boy, he comes back at Sargent in a hurry. Foley, importantly, gets ahead of Halen. He was worried about him on this initial start. The Belgian in the red, white, and black Porsche there, weaving around in P6 currently.
Parry and thrust like a couple of fencers there between DeFilippi and Sargent. DeFilippi had the position on the grid. He maintains it here as we ride on board with the rapid antipathy, and it's Tom Sargent for GMG Racing.
Great visuals here of the ebb and flow and the undulation around this race circuit. Incredible. Tires will now be in their sweet spot, generate tire temperature very quickly here on this quite abrasive circuit through some of these corners.
Aaron Povoleto may have had a problem on the opening lap. He's dropped to the back of the pack as Grenier comes through to complete the first lap at speed. DeFilippi 0.8 of a second back in second. Then it's the Pro-Am leader, Tom Sargent, chased by Aaron Thielitz and Robbie Foley.
Dust flying there, Sargent just nipping at that apex there through turn 2. Opens up his hands. Foley's dropped back a little bit here from Aaron Thielitz through the first couple of laps.
Everyone's settling into the rhythm. Tires still coming up to temperature. No tire warmers this year in GT World Challenge America, so you have to work it up, especially so with this new Pirelli tire that debuted in the last round at Road America.
And they're still learning this tire. They're learning quickly, but I just spoke to Robbie Foley before the off, and he said, I think I went a little bit too hard early yesterday on Matt Bell. I got that track position, but he said, boy, I was struggling at the end.
Single file and that plunge down the hill. It's almost like a corkscrew. That was the comparison you made in the track preview. Very similar to Laguna Seca. Then this run back up to the hill to a very high commitment section right here. This left-hander that goes downhill once more.
Choxy putting the heat on Matt Bell. 2 cars out of glass position, of course. Eric Powell right behind them, the AM leader. Been doing a brilliant job since he got this chance with this Dollar Height Racing Mustang team. Sitting
solidly inside the top 10 overall. Really good getaway for Eric Powell. It's been a great weekend for the Ford Mustang GT3 in LM GT3 spec. They swept the front row at Circuit of the Americas for the World Endurance Championship race. Plus, we had the race win in class for Powell and Dollarhide yesterday, which was the first for Ford under the new Ford Racing banner.
Yeah, it's only been 18 months since that car was debuted at the beginning of 2024 and has come a long ways during that time.
Powell, just his third weekend in this car and didn't get a ton of seat time, let's remember, at Road America. In fact, they raced a BMW in race 2 after severely damaging their chassis in race number 1. This is a brand new chassis since then that they've built up for this weekend, thanks to a lot of help from the Ford Racing folks as well as Multimatic in North Carolina.
Focus there on Oz Negri briefly. He's still the championship leader. He and Jay Schreibman only have a 3.5 point margin now heading into the green flag here today.
Then at the back of the pack, it's Povoleto, who again must have had some kind of an issue on the first lap to lose all that track position. The 2 cars ahead, ooh, there's some grass in the grill there for Jeff Burton that he's going to have to manage. Marcelo Hahn, too, the Mercedes and the Ferrari, those 2 both are on the alternate strategy, starting their less experienced driver here at the beginning of race number 2.
Povoleto flashing his lights here on Hahn, trying to make his way through. Should have a slightly faster race car, but struggling to make that position stick right now.
Aaron, the veteran out of Canada, lots of experience climbing the open wheel ladder a couple of decades ago, has slotted in nicely as mentor, co-driver, as well as team manager for the Schwez Povoleto Racing Team, which has made the step a season ago to GT3 Racing and then transitioned to the Corvette just this year.
Run a dual program with that Corvette, also running GT America, scored success. First time for the team at Road America, followed that with a brilliant victory yesterday for Ross West.
Yeah, that was massive for Ross and his confidence, his first ever GT3 wins. And Povoleto maybe not as comfortable with that car as he would like. He's had a couple of twitchy moments as he tries to get away by Marcelo Hahn, has to settle back in, still at the back of this train.
Varun Choksi there, tails away, the white, green, and black. Brandon Vandel's machine did a great job here yesterday, scored a podium with Bill Auberlin. Just lost out. They went one lap longer before they pitted this car, and Grenier, there's Auberlin, discussing the situation with team boss Paul Sparta. He came under the heat from Michael Grenier, and Grenier had to really be forceful in getting that car by the 51 car before he got his tires up to temperature. But Varun, as you said earlier, Ryan, setting the fastest lap of the day in the pro class. That's really a testament to his skills and speed right now.
Yeah, up against the likes of Michael Grenier, a factory driver, and Bill Auberlin, Kenton Cook, and Connor DeFilippi. Speaking of fastest laps, how about the fastest lap for this race? It belongs to Michael Grenier, the pole sitter, at a 1:22.016. Connor DeFilippi, though, only 13 thousandths of a second off of that with his best time, and he's been able to keep tabs on the leader, Michael Grenier. It's less than a second between the leading Mercedes and the second place BMW.
Sargent's just a sniff off that, just a couple of hundreds further back. So top three cars got really equal speed. Everyone else 2, 3, 4 tenths off the pace of this trio up front.
Sargent building his gap. Second place in his class is Aaron Thielitz in the McLaren. Then it's Foley, who had such a good drive yesterday to get to the lead. Let's go on board with Aaron Thielitz in the Archangel Motorsports McLaren. Halfway through a lap here at Barber.
This is 12 and 13, approach speed about 145, mid-corner speed almost 100. Tricky sector here, the car's up on its toes, second gear as you plunge back down the hill.
Back to this scrap, and let's give a shout to Marcelo Hahn. First year in the series, running that alternate strategy where his job is just to stay in the hunt, stay in the mix, try not to lose too much ground to the rest of the Pro-Am class, and then let his co-driver do the rest in the second half of the race. And he's been able to keep a solid driver in Aaron Povolato behind him.
Yeah, he has, and I tell you, he's doing a really nice job as Jeff Burton just in front of them. His lap time's 1:24.0. Only a couple of seconds off the leading pace, so that's really good news for Philip Ellis, that Jeff has really found a bit more speed than he had here yesterday. We tried to hang on to that lead and was pretty stubborn in terms of giving up those final few positions. It was great to watch as he double stinted his tires here yesterday. I'm not sure they're going to use that strategy ever again. It seems to have backfired the 2 times they've done it so far this season.
Noted that there was some grass on the grill of the Regulator racing car. You see it there. It's built up. Amanda's checked in with the team, and they report no overheating issues to this point. Pretty wide inlet on that Mercedes, which helps in these cases.
They're at Barber. I guess it was just a light trim he asked for, right?
Well played. And Jeff, though, really solid in the first half of his stint. As here comes Povolato to the inside, and Marcelo Hahn, sensing this is not really his fight, lets that car play through.
He didn't want to give it up, though. They're on several laps here. We're now working lap 7 to get that position. Now we'll try and chase down Jeff Burton here. Certainly respect someone of Aaron Povolato's experience and speed, for that matter. He's had some really stellar performances this year, even though the results have not necessarily proven that, but the speed has been there this year, as he's certainly showcased their improvement with that Chevy Corvette chassis.
Another onboard look. This is with the 99 Random Vandals Racing BMW that sits second. Just took the best lap of the race away from Michael Grenier, but only by fractions of a tenth of a second.
It's really important here for Connor DeFilippi to try and close in on Mick Grenier. Gained 7 points yesterday. That was massive in this championship fight. Moved the score to a 25-point margin. What they don't want to do is have that reversed here today and go to Indy with only an 18-point lead potentially.
25 points is what it pays to win one of these races. If you can keep that margin up going into the finale, it would be normally enough. In all the other championships, it would be enough. But when I say it's 25 to win all of these races, that's not quite true, is it? Because the Indy 8-hour is double points. So that adds a little extra jeopardy in at the tail end of the season.
Certainly does. They'd love to sweep the weekend and really be in the best possible shape heading to that double point race. 50 points on the table there for the victory. Big Grenier, I just spoke to him as I left the booth here momentarily, walked down on the grid. He said, we have to win today. It's imperative for our championship aspirations.
In some ways, is it easier if you know it's straightforward? We don't need to do all these permutations. We just have to win.
Yeah, just go out and do it. I mean, that's all you can do. And just, you'd love for one of those other pro cars, whether it's the sister car or the RS1 Porsche, to get between you and them and buffer that point spread a little bit further.
Looking at this battle for 7th place, 2 cars in the same class, but on different strategies with Burton and Povoledo. Aaron's been able to scoot away from Marcelo Hahn after making that pass, and now has Jeff in his crosshairs. But Jeff, as you noted, running solid lap times.
His last lap was his best, 24.0, so really solid stint here from Jeff. Had a couple of moments late in the going yesterday, but I think that's excusable when you try a double stint these tires. 90 minutes on this racetrack, which really has some tortuous corners, is a big ask. They just didn't want that warm-up phase when he initially got in the car, so that was the roll of the dice.
I think the team was thinking as, whoa, Povoledo throws it up the inside and Burton sees it at the last minute. They did have a few yellows at the start of the race, so maybe that would preserve some of the life in the Pirelli P0s, but as it turned out, it was a bit of a handful for Jeff late in the going. But at that stage, those 2 early yellows probably had scuppered their strategy anyway, and I think the thought was, hey, let's send him out on the stuff that's already heated up, and you don't have the warm-up phase that you need to go through, which I'm told is a bit more complicated with this generation of tire than it was previously.
Yeah, with the alternate strategy on race 1 with Philip Ellis starting, they don't want any yellows. They just want green flag running. Let Philip Ellis build a huge gap and then see if Jeff Burton can just hang on. Conversely, today, they'd love a yellow. They'd love to compress the field before Philip Ellis gets in the car or immediately after he gets in the car. Doesn't matter, just gives him a much more solid chance to get to the front once again.
On board now with Tom Sargent, leader in Pro-Am. Shares this car with Kyle Washington. In fact, this chassis has been busy this weekend. They've been forced to use it in GT America as well as GT World Challenge, having had a fairly heavy accident at Road America that has their primary car in a state of disrepair. But he's taking good care of the car, and it's been quick.
Might be good. Get a bit more time on the same chassis, a few more tweaks, a few more dials of the knobs in terms of damper settings and everything else. They've absolutely had a flying machine. Kyle Washington this morning in the GT America race had a moment early, but boy, he came back with some flying laps. Absolutely aced it, had the fastest lap by almost half a second. So they're in great shape here. Tom Sargent is doing what he always does, just flat out. And he's got the track position, he's got the lead, and I would say Kyle Washington of the remaining drivers, the second phase drivers other than the pros like Philip Ellis, is going to be in great shape here.
Definitely. First stint going exactly according to plan for them. Peek in here, this has not quite gone to plan this weekend for RS1. I know from talking to them, they had high hopes with this Porsche package here at Barber. They've not been quite able to unlock the same kind of speed that we've seen out of the GMG car, specifically with Tom Sargent driving.
No, they haven't, so you can't really say it's a Porsche issue. It's just that they haven't just really found the sweet spot on that chassis. 2 excellent drivers in the veteran, Jan Halen, along with the young Brit, Alex Sedgwick. He's been an amazing performer this year. Went for that victory at Road America on the restart, just got a little bit wrong, ended up being P3 at the end of the day, but he was going for it, certainly had a chance of a win there. Bit of slide there. His team swept the weekend at VIR in great shape. They're running very different lines here. The good news for Robbie Foley there in the Laddercret BMW, the black and aqua color car going through turn 5 there. He's got that little buffer there. There's Matt Bell just dropping a wheel as he comes off that corner. Matt Bell is their nearest pursuer in that championship chase, but that margin now is up to 38 points.
Becomes difficult to overcome, though, as we heard Will Turner say, they went into last year with a similar deficit, thought there's no way we're winning this championship, and they ended up having to go do some shopping for suits ahead of the banquet a little bit later on in that weekend, with a surprisingly good run in their estimation at the Indy 8 Hour, and some fortune that fell their way, but they were there to capitalize on it, and they took home the crown.
Seeing Jan Halen there, he's a pro between two Pro-Am cars. You got that dynamic working as well. For Robbie Foley, that car behind you is not going to take any points away. Here's Blake McDonald here, watching his charge. Matt Bell, the Englishman, behind the wheel of the number 11 DXDT Racing Corvette. They swept both races here last year with Alec Udell and Tommy Milner. So they'll have a good notebook to work from to start the weekend. He also had a little bit of a BOP massaging, let's call it that, 10 kilos taken off that car after qualifying here this weekend for the races.
Right. Still wasn't quite enough though yesterday, much to their frustration. Right now, when you watch these classes intermixed, keep in mind, we have a pro car in the RS1 Porsche running in the middle of a couple of Pro-Am cars, but both of those have their pros in, so with equal GT3 spec machinery across the different classes, the pace potential was roughly the same, and all of these cars being extremely well driven at the moment.
Yeah, these are top notch. Matt Bell coming up a huge victory to start the year at the Rolex 24-hour race at Daytona. Carving the corners nicely. Just getting that wake a little bit. There's certainly opportunities to pass around here, but these GT3 cars are so aero-dependent, a lot of fast, high-speed corners here, so if you're just losing that aero efficiency, that can stop you from inching up on the car in front of you.
This DXDT team running the Corvette. Sister Corvette team is Schwest Povolato Racing. A lot of crew members bounce back and forth between the different teams in the various series here in North America. And in recent weeks, it was a very scary situation in a test at Road Atlanta. And one of the crew members that bounces back and forth between those two teams was injured. Watching now, where we understand, and the team wants to say hi to you, Colton. Everyone here at SRO America, both of your teams, DXDT Racing and Schwest Povolato Racing, send you the best for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, there's a GoFundMe page out there, so we'll look for that on social media, because it's a big family here in the motorsports, and that was really a scary moment there at that test last week.
Yep, and it's a lot of people really thinking about the implications of everything, and you know, you need those moments every once in a while, put everything into perspective. But again, everyone wishes you a speedy recovery, Colton, as we get back to the action here with an hour, 12 minutes still to go, and the tires may be starting to degrade a little bit as they lean on them hard, even in these relatively cool temperatures.
Yeah, Matt Bell was absolutely sliding that car there through turn 16, trying to stay ever closer to Jan Halen as he's dropping wheels. A lot of dust around this race track. It's been pretty dry. We had that sort of 10-minute rain burst yesterday, but other than that, it's been pretty warm and toasty here in Alabama, so grass is pretty dry as these drivers continue to search for the limits here, dropping wheels. That dust kind of settles on the racing line. It gets cleared off by the race cars and the aerodynamics, but offline you see kind of dust clouds all of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Something we've noticed really all throughout the weekend. Anytime you get offline a bit, that dust gets kicked up. It's been a dry time here as of late. We had that little rain shower, didn't we, yesterday midday that affected GT America and TC America. But as far as GT World Challenge is concerned, it's been dry running all weekend long. And in that dry running, one of the consistent trends has been just how strong the 34 JMF Motorsports Mercedes has been. And Mikel Grenier now leading by 2 seconds over Connor De Filippi. Meanwhile, AM-class leaders, how about Eric Powell, 9th overall, and running ahead of a multi-time Le Mans winner, Darren Turner. Big opportunity here for Eric, got the call up mid-season, had long dreamed of getting to race at the GT3 level, had GT4 and touring car experience aplenty. Tell you what, he seized this opportunity with both hands.
He really has. He's just been magnificent to see that young man who's really struggled to keep his racing programs alive, and got this chance with Dollarhide, and he's jumped in this race car, had tremendous pace, hasn't made any mistakes. And his lap times are super impressive. Right now his fastest lap of the day is a 22.7, which compares pretty favorably with the leading runners running laps in the 21.6, 21.7 range.
Behind Darren Turner, you find Isaac Sherman. This car had an issue in qualifying, throttle body issue that left them underpowered. They didn't have the best starting position for either race as a consequence, but CRP Racing went to work, found the issue, got it fixed. And Isaac Sherman yesterday, along with Jason Daskalos, just outside of the top 5, had another strong run to 6th.
Yeah, I think they're really starting to find their stride a little bit. Spoke to Nick Short at length yesterday.
Pun intended?
Yeah, maybe. And he just said, listen, we're not doing the testing that the other groups do. We come to the race weekends to try and find our way. We had a couple of rough weekends, but we're really kind of come back strong. At Road America, they had Ryan Dial in attendance there. I think he kind of helped steer the ship a little bit, give the drivers a little bit of confidence and perspective on things. And they're also getting used to this new tire as well. So lots of learning going on compared to some of the teams who've done a bit more running on this new tire and got engineers integrated in their camp who maybe have experience over in Europe. So always a bit of a disadvantage for the smaller teams.
Here is Aaron Povoleto. He's gotten around Jeff Burton, and there's the crew sending their best wishes.
Colton Rybeck is the young man who got injured there, and we wish Colton all the best. We look forward to seeing you back in our paddock, mate. I know it's a long road ahead, but we're certainly thinking about you.
Aaron Povoleto trying to give this car a good run here today. Once he's got through the traffic, he's been running in the high 22s the last few laps, which would put him right in the middle of the pack. This is interesting. Connor DeFilippi.
This is a problem.
Pits early. This is not in the de facto window, so there must be a problem for Random Vandals Racing. This is from second on the road with their closest championship pursuers leading the race.
No idea at the moment what the issue may be, but this is obviously not within their window.
They do have a tire over the wall, it looks like. They go ahead and put some fuel in the car.
This is extremely strange. This is really bizarre. Goodness, I mean, the only thought you could think is that they didn't top him up to start this race.
Remember last year, they had a single entry. It was Kitten Cook.
Fuel issue that year as well.
Exactly, Connor Daly, and they had the race all but won on the Sunday and came up a little bit short on fuel. So we're gonna have to get to the bottom of this. I have no idea what would have led to it.
This is massive.
Huge.
Think about it, there's only a 4-car pro field, and right now the third place runner is a teammate, so they could always switch the cars potentially at the end of this one. Amanda, what's Paul got to say about this?
That was very unexpected, Paul. What's happening?
We just had some kind of a fuel pickup problem, and we don't really know why, but we'll hopefully keep him on the lead lap, and we're going to need a yellow to catch back up, but hopefully we'll have something in the second part of the race.
Is this a problem that will continue going forward?
Couldn't tell you that. I hope not.
Thank you, Paul.
Both of the cars have had a problem because here comes the sister car in. This is Varun Choksi, who pits from third in class.
I find it really hard to believe that it would be a similar pickup problem with both cars. I just wonder if there's been some kind of miscommunication amongst the crew. I mean, this is a big finger to point at a crew saying you didn't top the car up to start the race, but here we go again. It's fuel once again.
Wow, this is massive. Now, I do wonder here if...
That was just a quick blast of fuel.
And now
you
having
wouldn't
trouble
be,
getting...
I mean, there's no way you'd do this just to reverse the position this early in the race. That wouldn't be the call. So it's not like, oh, we'll bring Varun in to get Connor back in front of him. But that was just such a short fill. So I just can't believe it's, in terms of fuel level to start the race, that's too unbelievable to even go there. But can't make sense of it at this point.
No. And we'll have Amanda see if she can do a little bit of digging and learn something more. But very, very strange. The result, though, Connor DeFilippi now 14th overall, Varun Choksi 15th. It does put the 99 back to third. So there's a few more points their way on account of that, but this is the opportunity that JMF needed with Grenier and Stevens.
Big
and they've
time.
got the pace to try and capitalize.
Yeah, massive opportunity now. So just focus forward. You've got about a 14-second lead over Jan Halen, who's the nearest pro car in the field right now, sitting 5th overall. Grenier's probably going to be struggling to identify what exactly is going on when he hears that both Random Vandals have been in pit lane for fuel before the effective pit window opens.
Would you want to know? I mean, his mission really doesn't change. They need to win, score maximum points.
Well, I think you would, because you don't want to risk things. I mean, ideally you want to gap the Random Vandals car as far as you can to give your teammate the best opportunity. Right now, there's no need to do that. Just kind of run good, fast, consistent laps, but don't push it right to the limit where you may make a little mistake.
3 wins on the season, including the season opener, which was the team's GT3 debut. It was also Mikhail's co-driver Mikhail Stevens' GT3 debut, and what a debut it was to win that race overall. Late race drama to take that win, as memory serves. But this is very, very strange here. Connor DeFilippi very much on the back foot. He's catching Marcelo Hahn for 13th overall, but he's got to get all the way up to 5th overall to find the next car in his class.
That unbeaten record as a married man may not last very long, just a day.
Still plenty of time. Things can change. Don't want to count anything out, but this would be a remarkable comeback if they were able to do so.
Yeah, and unlike some other endurance series, there's no advantage by being topped up on field because there's a minimum stop time as well. So it's not like you're going to be sitting stationary a little bit less than the others should there be a yellow and you get a compression of the field. So there's no upside in this.
DeFilippi looking to get around Marcelo Hahn, who runs 13th. Pro-Am class car. Not an easy task, as we talked about. This place doesn't offer a lot of passing opportunities. You got to be a bit clever. You got to get your timing right, and Connor might have here.
Certainly going to send it down the inside there. Just keep the car on a straight line as he does. Solo's coming back at him. I love this. I just love the feistiness of some of these gentlemen drivers in our field here. They're just not willing to give it up.
Yep, Marcelo, along with Jeff Burton, out of that Pro-Am class right now. The 2 guys who don't make their living driving race cars that have started the race. That's their strategy call. Then the shoes on the other foot in the second half of this race once we get through the pit stop window, and it will be Jeff Burton and Diego Gomez getting in the Mercedes and the Ferrari. Here is, excuse me, I said Jeff Burton, I meant Philip Ellis getting in this car. And Jeff doing a nice job staying in touch with the rest of the Pro-Am field. Let's head back to the pits and see what Amanda's been able to dig up.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm still close down to pit out next to the Random Vandals team, and you can feel the tension down for this operation. With both BMWs having what seemingly was the same issue, I asked for another update from Paul Sparta. He did tell me that it could be an underfuel situation, but also could be a software situation when it came to the fueling. Doesn't want to make any assessment yet, but said he would know more after the race.
Yeah, I mean, that's the logical conclusion, but what I don't understand, the short fill that Varun had. I mean, Connor's top up looked like is what it should be, like you didn't have enough fuel on board. But Varun was stationary for like 4 or 5 seconds and they sent him again, so quite bizarre, unless they were just thinking, okay, this is enough to get you to your pit stop window and then we'll top you up and not waste any time right now and just do it during the mandatory 74-second stop. Yeah, that's a strange one. That's a real head scratcher. It can happen. You know, you have checklists and maybe the fueling team just missed it. Who knows? But that is crazy to think that 2 cars under the same tent would have the same problem.
And with so much pressure on their shoulders too, right? The spotlight is bright for this number 99 car. They're looking for a championship in just the team's 2nd year of GT3 racing. Still a lot to learn. It's a relatively young program. It's grown exponentially in a short amount of time.
Yeah, had a bundle of wins here this weekend across both championships they compete in. Success at the Pirelli GT4 level, as well as the big pro win here yesterday for Kenton and Connor.
Well, they'll keep on fighting. There's a lot of fight in that squad, no doubt about it. As they like to say, there is no trash can't, there is only trash can.
I like that. I haven't heard that before. That is pretty cool.
They got it on signs and on stickers. It's all because of their raccoon mascot Gizmo. They've really leaned into it in a big way, become a fan favorite in a short amount of time. Battle starting to hot up here. Jan Halen has dropped off of Robbie Foley and into the clutches of Matt Bell.
Yeah, I mean, that's the battle for the championship, the 29 and the 11. I mean, Foley has said he doesn't really care if the GMG car win. We just need to beat the 11 and keep building on. They'd obviously love to win. That's the maximum delta in points. Big spread. I love the way that wins are awarded with the 7-point delta between first and second. Then it gets down to 3s and 2s and single points at the bottom end of the top 10. So wins are what you want, but the important thing at this stage of the game is to beat your nearest competitor and keep building, even if it's just a couple or 3 points. Let's not forget for Matt Bell, he can be sitting there knowing that Foley's pit stop is going to be 5 seconds longer.
True.
So long as he's within that 5 seconds, that should allow Blake McDonald to leave pit lane ahead of Justin Rothberg when they do that exchange eventually. Right now that margin is only 2 point. Well, it's right about 2 seconds right now between the 29 and the 11.
Bell really let it swing out wide in that last sequence of corners, and he's done it a few times, so maybe that's by design, but it's been startling at first. That car's been quick this weekend. Matt Bell. It's been a good weekend to be a Matt Bell, because just earlier today, American Matt Bell won in Rally GT4 America. Podium finish for the British Matt Bell in this race yesterday. That's a trophy. Trophies handed out to M. Bell this weekend.
Sargent continuing to push, has that Pro-Am lead. He has built the gap up to Aaron Telitz, who runs second in Pro-Am, and a really strong run for Archangel Motorsports aboard that McLaren. It's now up to a 6-second gap, so he's going to give his teammate Kyle Washington that sort of margin to work with. Washington will jump aboard this car. It'll be Todd Coleman aboard the 88. Justin Rothberg, championship leader Robbie Foley. They sit third in class right now.
As you saw in Race Vision powered by AWS, he's got the third fastest lap time in the race, but only 0.07 of a second off of the fastest lap. The top three are that close together. At least an outright lap time. DeFilippi has caught Jeff Burton. Jeff sees him coming and gives way. This is happening just under a minute behind the overall leader of the race.
Burton's pace has been really good. I think that's going to really keep the regulator racing boys and girls in with a shout here today. He's been running laps. His fast lap of 23.5. Remember yesterday we were talking about you've got to get out of that 26 range and get in the high 24s. He's running mid-23s today.
Yeah.
That is massive over a full stint.
Certainly. Philip Ellis will soon be getting in. How close are we to the window opening up?
Yeah, getting pretty close here, and they're going to jump him out as soon as possible. 51 and 14 on the board. We're looking at 56.21 right now, so in about 5 minutes time you'll be seeing the 91 car certainly taking the first opportunity to get Philip Ellis behind the wheel of his it's almost like a pair of slippers, right?
He's looking awfully relaxed, Mr. Philip Ellis.
I think he's pretty fast at putting his helmet on as well, I would imagine.
Chances
he eats
are
his breakfast in about 33 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
Chances are he's going to be the first to the airport, first on the plane, first off the plane in Suzuka, beating our own Amanda Busick, because he's headed off to the Suzuka round of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, which is next weekend. And Amanda will be there too. We will be watching.
See that grass in the grill? Fortunately, it wasn't heavier than that. It's allowed him to stay out and have to come into the pits and clean it off. Not the way that some of the drivers have done it in the past. You'll find a piece of straightaway and just suddenly hit the brakes, and sometimes you just see that all fall forward and off the grill, particularly if it's dry versus wet and kind of packed into that grill sector. They're seeing temperatures on the readings that is not that high. I mean, looks like it's a bit more on there than I saw initially. So I'm not sure if he's had another brief excursion. We talked about his impressive lap times, but I'm not sure if he's had another momentary off.
That's a good question. I would agree with that assessment. Maybe they're on the fortunate side because the temperatures are down considerably here in Birmingham compared to where we've been the previous couple of days this weekend. Almost 20 degrees Fahrenheit cooler today than it was at the peak of the day, let's say on Friday.
See the rhythm there. He's feeling it, I think. He's just got in a nice groove, no pressure, just focus forward, hit your marks. I think he's probably about 2.5 laps from hitting pit lane, looking at the clock right now. So just got to finish it off. Don't lose focus. This is critical for their chances here today.
Yeah, his last lap was within 3/10 of his best lap. So really good rhythm, really good stint from Jeff. Again, one yellow flag to bunch the field up in the second half of the race, and Philip Ellis goes to the front.
Yeah, and Aublin's going to be thinking about that too. They need a yellow with Rune Choxey hitting pit lane as well. Choxey now at the very tail end of this field, just moved ahead of Marcelo Hahn on that last lap.
Back to the M-Class leader, and Eric Powell from Orlando, Florida. The heat this weekend wouldn't have bothered him, I'm sure. He's used to heat and humidity down in Florida, but right now, 7th overall. Really strong outing in a completely new chassis that they had to build up in between events.
Yeah, and he has a 7-second lead over Oz Negri. They come into this round of the championship 3.5 points behind. There's a 7-point delta between the two cars in that class for this race, so they can turn the table and lead for Scott Dollarhide. Obviously, Eric is not on the same points total, joining that squad very late in the season, but nonetheless, it's all about getting Scott that championship.
With a huge assist from Turner Motorsport, which lent them a chassis to at least start race 2 in Road America and score some points. They scored second place points, so that's 18. If they hadn't had that opportunity, they would have scored none and lost 25. Instead, they only lost 7. And as a consequence, they've got a chance to go and win a title for Scott Dollarhide.
Yeah, and I saw Bill Dollarhide, Scott's dad, who kind of manages and runs that team, and he just said that was a huge, huge gesture that Justin Rothberg and his father gave our small team. He said it's so appreciated, and they're just quality people. Ooh, little lift there. That was a moment. You could hear it. Big lift. Keep it together here. He's got to do one more lap, and then it'll be within that window where they can do the minimum stop time and get Philip Ellis out on the racetrack without exceeding 50 minutes drive time.
Risk here, of course, they will go a lap down when they make that early stop to the leader. That would cycle through if everything stays green, but while yes, they do want a yellow, they don't want it in the middle of that pit sequence. That could prove detrimental.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's pretty quirky here with a relatively short lap, only 2 1/3 miles essentially around here, and 74 seconds on pit lane. And with Jeff's gap back from the leader, that would put Philip down a lap and complicate matters a little bit. Ideally, they want everyone to have done their pit stop, then get a yellow, compress the field, and then let Philip Ellis do his thing.
Grenier's lead over Sargent, 3.5 seconds. Tielitz, Foley distantly back in 3rd and 4th overall. Then Jan Halen 5th overall, 2nd in pro. Drivers limbering up, getting ready to go. Grenier, though, in firm control, Cal.
He is. Curious to see with the gap and the circumstances with Random Vandals what the 34 car elects to do. They may elect to pit Grenier a little bit earlier than they may have thought about. They kind of did it midway through the window yesterday, as I recall, switching the drivers, but Grenier certainly got great pace. There we see first opportunity. Burton is in. And just don't break the speed limit. Just keep it nice and cool. Good execution here. And then pray for a yellow.
Yep. Let the Regulator Racing team do their thing in the pit lane and see what happens from there. But Jeff did his job. Now Philip Ellis will do his. Pirelli P0 set to go on. EP Racing fuel into the car. That's the crew immediately dealing with the grass that we've seen up in that grill.
like Connor DiFilippi was on pit lane, so they're employing that strategy, get in early and hope for a bit of a break with the safety car. JMF was in. I thought they might do this just to play it safe.
Yes. Grenier out, Mackay Stevens in. Mackay will talk about what an opportunity this has been to get to jump up to GT3 racing this year. Been a stalwart with the team at the GT4 level across multiple paddocks over the last 3 or 4 years. Finally gets tabbed to be up in this this car. He's really repaid John Farrow's faith in a big way.
That is normal. That was tight there. There's a little bit of an overlap. The rules state that that blue Ferrari there, Mackay's got to be careful. He doesn't want to get a penalty for a car that's almost a lap down. But when there's an overlap in pit lane, that car in the fast lane has priority. So Mackay's got to read this one. He doesn't want to have to give that position. He gives it back. There you go. That's smart.
Yep.
Either from the team making the call or Mackay recognizing that.
Yeah, be proactive. Don't make race control make the call. Mackay on it now. He is behind Diego Gomez Nunez, and not for long.
No, he didn't want to be messing with a pretty fast driver behind the wheel of that blue AF Corsa Ferrari. Halen's in, going to turn over Sedgwick from the lead, in fact, with the 34 car hitting pit lane. So a quiet weekend for RS1.
Yes.
As we talk about the Porsche and GMG camp has been really quick, so you can't really say it's a BOP related issue, balance of performance with the different manufacturers.
They're really excited about their lineup, though, for the Indy 8 Hour. I think they aim to try and take the fight to the top GT3 teams from around the world, which will come to join us. Heard Greg Gill preview it, expecting a record grid for the season finale, GT World Challenge America, but also the finale for Intercontinental GT Challenge. Good pit work here by RS1. Here's Philip Ellis. He has caught Connor DiFilippi, who...
I thought I saw Connor in. But they're still showing Connor behind the wheel, so that doesn't make sense.
I don't think Connor has. He's only done the drive, or the one pit stop according to timing and scoring.
Oh, okay, it must have been the other car. I thought
Yeah.
it was the 99. It must have been the 51 I saw
Yes.
in the back row.
Oberlin is installed in the 51. So, yeah, Ellis will hope that Connor is still showing the kind of pace he had early in the race, where he was nipping at the heels of Michael Grenier.
That was weird. I mean, Philip Ellis just dropped about 4 or 5 car lengths there in the space of us cutting away from him. I don't understand that.
These new tires do take some additional prep relative to their predecessors, but yeah, not sure exactly what that was all about. Tom Sargent continues to lead. He has not pitted. In fact, the top 9 have not come to the pit lane. Make it really the top 10 have not done their mandatory stop. DiFilippi has, but that was just to do that very strange top off in the middle of the first stint.
Yeah, and they can go all the way to 40 minutes to go. 50 minutes the maximum drive time, so you start the clock at 90 and cut down from there. So they're going to maximize this stint length for their pros behind the wheel. Just increase the gaps behind them as far as they can. Kyle Washington, I think, is going to have the speed and the pace and the attitude to get the job done here today. GMG looking in great shape.
This guy's been a revelation, hasn't he, since coming stateside. Really successful racing single-make Porsches in Australia.
So as you look at the graphic there with the splits and the gaps, look how close Bell is to Foley now, with Halen having pitted. That's kind of given that Corvette a little bit of clean air, and he's closed that gap down to just half a second. I don't think he's going to be in any panic to try and get by Foley. That would be a bonus, but just as we say, Foley and Rothberg, they have that 5-second additional stop time for Justin being a derogated bronze with great pace.
Whatever the problem may have been with Ellis, and he only ran a 24.7 on the last lap, he's on it now because he just did that car's best Sector 1 and Sector 2, so seems to have that rectified. Into the pits comes the hard racing now.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I don't know if he just had a moment of ball. We didn't see it, but suddenly the gap was massive. he was right with Connor, and suddenly he was like
Yeah.
in a different zip code there.
Yeah. Darren Turner, his day is done. Gray Newell will climb aboard.
Having a great run of late.
Seriously.
Coming in this weekend, 3 podiums out of the last 4, last 2 double headers, and got their performance yesterday a little bit turned upside down with that moment down in turn 1 with Jeff Burton.
Still managed to finish in 4th in that race. Just waiting to make sure they hit the minimum time.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a delay getting the engine fired back up there and immediately launched, so I'm not sure if that will cost them a little bit of time in terms of being way outside that minimum.
And refresh me the minimum again.
74 seconds.
Okay.
Do have a 1-second joker that you can work with, but any amount underneath that, whether it's, so for example, if it's you're under it by a 10th, that gets multiplied by 10, so it's a 1-second post-race penalty.
Everyone looks okay so far.
This is really crunch time in this championship for Robbie Foley. He'd love to beat the 11 car here. It's going to be a tall order. Blake McDonald has had excellent pace here this weekend. Robbie Foley's co-driver, Justin Rothberg, has got 2 victories on the year, one obviously in this class here. Yesterday got a GT America win this morning, so he's got a lot of confidence, but he's going to have to get up on the wheel if he's going to chase down that number 11 car. So we expect those 2 cars to flip-flop after the pit stop action.
Right. It's going to come down to Rothberg and McDonald, mano a mano. Report from Amanda, no problems with the regulator car, still just didn't have the tires up to temperature. Now he has them in the window and he is pushing on 121.7 on the last lap. Here comes Foley now. They make the dive to the pit lane with 1 lap to spare.
Yep. Could have pushed it a little bit deeper in this race, but electing not to. Maybe he's feeling vulnerable with Matt Bell. And by doing this undercut, maybe they feel getting Justin out on some fresh rubber will give him the best opportunity to be into a rhythm. See if he can put some pressure on Blake McDonald.
Driver change underway. Robbie Foley, originally from New Jersey, climbing out of that car.
Hoses got caught.
Yep. Of course, they have the extra time to play with, don't they? So they should be in no rush at all.
Yeah. Powell, another great stint. Scott jumps in, see if they can bring it home to sweep the weekend and grab the championship lead.
Yeah, this has been really strong from this team. Scott Dollarhide, who's climbing aboard now, did not go home after the Road America race. Flew directly to North Carolina to the Multimatic shop, where he and some crew members, with some help from Eric Powell when he wasn't racing in another championship, spent a bunch of time building that chassis up.
They had extra time.
Yeah.
That did not look like the smoothest pit stop to me. I can't believe they're still working on the tire change that late. We cut away and looked at another pit stop and got back them. They're still working on the 29.
Powell pretty fired up, happy with that stint. Let's check the time here.
There's a 79 is what they're looking for.
And it was 84.
Oh, that's a disaster. They must have had an issue there. That's 5 seconds outside.
Wow.
What they needed to be. This is going to give Blake McDonald a huge lead potentially. He could be 8-9 seconds up the road.
Yeah. DXDT, hopefully they are aware. They know do not take any risks. Don't cut any corners. They were likely to have the lead in that battle flip-flop anyway, and now an extra buffer.
Well, let's think about this. I wonder if they're going to drop the 29 car even further down the order.
Right. We'll find out pretty soon. Everything about to cycle through. Connor DeFilippi extended that stint as long as he could, but now he does make the trip to a pit lane. Here goes Blake McDonald for DXDT. And surely will be coming out ahead of Justin Rothberg and Turner. Sargent now, from the lead of the race, brings his car to the GMG crew.
As you can see from the clock, had no time to do 1 additional lap. That's the maximum he could do. Carl Washington at the ready.
There goes McDonald in the Corvettes. No sign of the BMW. There it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
huge gap.
Yeah. We'll see it cycle through after 1 lap. I bet it's 8-9 seconds potentially. Curious to know what happened there with the tournament. We saw the issue on the right front, but there must have been another drama because that wasn't enough to create that sort of delay.
Tire change complete. Clean windscreen as well for Kyle Washington. And he's waved away.
Clean is relative. I'm sure I'd be paying my window cleaner if they looked like that after they came to the house.
Serviceable though, hopefully. Some traffic here. Chase Schreiben fresh out of the pits just in front of the pro class leader, Mackay Stevens, who manages it really well. Onto the front straightaway, he should cycle through to where?
Well, we've got to wait for everyone to cycle through because you're crossing pit lane here. Looks like with Sargent staying out on those hot tires, it's given the GMG car the overall lead here for Washington, but Mackay Stevens got tire temperature here, so he should reassume the overall lead in terms of his car being more in its sweet spot in terms of tire temperature and the fact he's a pro versus Carl Washington. But Carl's performance this morning was sensational in GT America, so he's just got to settle in, just get into his groove. He's got a huge advantage to work with in terms of his class position. Don't get rattled here with Mackay Stevens all over your tail.
38 minutes, 48 seconds to go. Here comes Stevens to the inside of Washington, fresh out of the pits, and that was nice and easy. Just what the JMF team wanted to see. They need to win this race to stay within striking distance, knowing double points are on offer in the next round at Indianapolis for the 8-hour race, the season finale. They're doing exactly what they need to do, controlling what they can control, especially on a day in which their championship rivals, Random Vandals, have faltered.
Yeah, this is huge. They need Jan Halen and Alex Sedgwick just to have a good clean run to the finish and finish in that runner-up position. It would be a 10-point swing. That would mean it would be a 15-point deficit heading into Indianapolis. Let's talk about the double-point swing there. So instead of 7, it's a 14-point margin. So if they should win at Indy, that would mean that the Random Vandals machine would have to finish right behind them to keep it within 1 point.
Exactly. Philip Ellis on his charge up through the field, just got around Ross Schwest. That puts him up to 7th. Next target is Gray Newell. That's about 15 seconds up the road. See how long it takes Philip to get there. Meantime, report from Amanda. Rear sway bar adjustment on the Turner BMW that took longer than intended.
Wow, that better be a big adjustment to get that lap time back. When you're dropping, what was it, 5 seconds outside of their minimum.
Now the good news is he only lost the 1 position, which he figured to lose anyway with the lengthier pit stop that we knew about. Jason Daskalos is still 10 seconds behind. The gap though from Rothberg to McDonald, that's what we'll be tracking. It's also right around 10 seconds as well. Corvette back to BMW, so we'll see what Justin can do with that adjustment on the car. Can he track down McDonald for 3rd place and supplant his title rival in the running order?
They've been struggling with some understeer, so I would suggest that with that rear sway bar adjustment, you probably stiffen that up a little bit to try and loosen the car up if they did have the same condition with the balance there during Robbie Foley's stint. But that's a big compromise to make, to give up 5 seconds in your pit stop. I got a feeling there's more to that story.
Try and get to the bottom of it as Todd Coleman watches Alex Sedgwick go by. Todd will have a post-race time penalty. You mentioned that 1 second joker where if you come in under the minimum time within that 1 second, you multiply the amount you were under by 10. That's how we arrive at this 2.18 second post-race time penalty. They were just fractionally under that minimum pit stop delta.
What would make sense with the rear sway bar adjustment, I think you go under the rear wheel well to do that. So that would mean when we cut to them still in pit lane putting that right rear on, maybe that's because the mechanic had been in there and they had to wait to get the wheel back in position.
Amanda reminding me, we did hear it from Justin after GT America talking about how much he relies on Robbie Foley for what adjustments they need to do, setup philosophy, things like that. So it's a very real possibility that that's an adjustment that Robbie could have called for.
Yeah, absolutely. But you wouldn't want to compromise your pit stop by 5 seconds to do it. You would think with the extra start time, typically you got about 5 seconds to play with anyway. Additional 5 seconds on top of that should have given them 10 seconds to do that. Seems like it took them 15 just doing the simple math on the equation.
Blake McDonald quickly reeling in Todd Coleman, it would appear. Todd taking a little time to get up to speed. Blake has been right on it.
Good news for Turner Motorsports, and they said, well, if we're going to be beat by the 11, we don't want them to win because that's where that big point swing is. So they'll be reasonably content. Just to reiterate, they came into this race with a 38-point margin. They run right behind, it'll be a 3-point swing, so that'd be a 35-point advantage going to Indianapolis. That's pretty healthy, but as Will Turner alluded to, it's not in the bag. It was Wright Motorsport, right, who lost the title at the end of the day last year, who went into that round, I think, with the
they were in pro last year, weren't they?
Right.
I'm trying to remember who that would have been. I've only got notes on this year, Cal. Put me on the spot. We'll see what I can dig up. Here's the 99. This is that delayed car, Kenton Cook. He's now caught Scott Dollarhide. So we get him back to 8th overall, but doesn't really help within the class. It's to go a long way to get to Alex Sedgwick.
ST Racing, maybe.
That could
for
be.
Hagen and Tam.
Yep. I think you're onto something.
We'll get it sorted out. We've got another 33 minutes to tell you the real story.
They did finish second last year, so I think you're right. Pretty good job there, Cal.
Okay, what can we do here? Kenton Cook, we've seen him be the magic man this year. He's got to pull a real rabbit out of his hat here. They just need a yellow desperately. They currently sit 34 seconds back of P2 in class, which is Alex Sedgwick. They're just not going to drive you away to that Porsche, even with 33 minutes left on the board.
No, Kenton's doing basically the same times as Sedgwick, maybe fractionally quicker, but it's not going to take fractions. We need whole numbers, or maybe it's integers. Haven't done math in a while, but if he's going to reel in second place, so.
Well, the racer's instinct, just think about this. The racer's instinct, push, 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 try and catch him right now. The other thought is, if I'm going to get a yellow, let's not use my tires up and chase it. However, if Sedgwick fell off the road and only lost 10 seconds, you think, oh, I wish I was closer to him. So I think the racer's version is the best. Just keep going.
Watching here as Blake McDonald tracks down Todd Coleman. Todd's picked up the pace a little bit over the last few laps, but the gap has come down. This would be promoting McDonald to second place points, which is 18.
That's big, though.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. We talked about what was going to be the delta is right around that 8-second margin that we anticipated between McDonald and Rothberg, with Foley coming in with the track position initially, and then with the extra time they spent on pit lane, they kind of doubled that 5-second disadvantage they always have to up to almost 10. But this is important for McDonald, you know, being that close to Coleman. He'll either pass him or naturally get it through post-race couple of seconds here that he's got to add to his time. Rothberg, he's got to somehow try and chase the 88 down as well. That's really the times that we've got to look at now, is what Rothberg is running compared to Todd Coleman.
And Coleman has done low 25s here as of late. McDonald's running in the low 23s, as is Rothberg. And Rothberg's not that much further behind these two.
So Rothberg needs to happen is for Todd Coleman to get his elbows out here, try and defend that runner-up position, which I'm sure he's going to want to try and keep, even knowing that he's got a 2-second penalty in his back pocket he's got to serve post-race. And if he can hold Blake McDonald up a little bit, give Rothberg a chance to eat into that gap, who knows?
Think about it from Todd's perspective. They've yet to finish on the podium this year. Came close, finished 4th Sebring Race 1. This would be a big, big result. So he's got every reason and every right to fight this as hard as he can. McDonald, of course, desperate in his own right, trying to maximize his points haul and stay in the fight for the title.
Yeah, despite the number of wins, that was his first time driving the car to the checkered flag at Road America, as they won in race 2 of the weekend for the very first time. And he's just been doing a really solid job. But Todd Coleman spoke to Mike Johnson, who runs the Archangel Motorsports team. He just said, you know, this program came together so late, like literally a week before the first event. Todd gave Mike a call and said, we're go, and they really haven't done a bunch of testing. So he said, you know, the car is good, the McLaren's really strong over a lap, reaches its lap time through being superior in the brake zones and through the corners, but from point A to point B makes it a little bit hard to race. But Let's see what McDonald does here. This is exactly what Rothberg needs.
Yeah.
McDonald trying to, having a struggle here to get by that McLaren despite having a little bit more pace.
Yeah, Rothberg cut away a second on McDonald on the last lap once he got into this traffic. This is perfect. There he is. Yeah, exactly. Right in the background. Here comes the later creep BMW. Coleman, pretty neat and tidy. Not looking frantic at all. Not opening up any obvious lines of attack for the Corvette driver. Speaking of Rothberg, Amanda with an update for us, chatting with one of the pit lane officials. Sounds like, and I assume this is by rule, you cannot start that sway bar adjustment until the fuel and driver change is fully complete. So that also could have led to the delay in that pit stop.
Yeah, possibly. Donald here. It is really critical that he makes this move as quickly as he can. No, doesn't quite get it done. So hard to do that there, and that McLaren and Todd Coleman can really roll. Impressive apex speed there through turn 1, and Rothberg is getting closer.
Todd's upping his pace. That was a little bit quicker, actually, of a lap than he had been running by a tenth or two. Rothberg still down in the low 23s, where these guys are in the high 24s or low 25s. This is exactly what Justin Rothberg was hoping for.
Yeah, he cut a second and a half off on that one lap alone, so could be even closer. You can see him big time. This is going to force the pressure on Blake McDonald here. Doesn't have the experience of some of the other drivers in this field, but doing a tremendous job. Got great pace, but then racecraft is that next level to being a top driver, recognizing where the opportunities exist, setting up the driver in front of you, recognizing where their speed is. He looks to the inside. It's really hard to do with that high-speed approach. Fastest part of the racetrack. Looks for the crossover here. This could be it.
Pokes his nose to the inside, but Coleman chops across the bow. It won't happen here. Coleman still hanging on by the skin of his teeth in this battle for second and third in Pro-Am.
This is for position, so Todd Coleman just got on to lay down. Now McDonald, huge run here.
With a head full of steam down the pit straightaway, this time McDonald is to the inside of Todd Coleman. They go side by side at apex. Somehow they coexist. Coleman tried to fight back, but no. McDonald edges ahead. He'll take second place.
Excellent driving by both those guys there. McDonald committed. Coleman tried to hang on. Didn't touch. Didn't run off the road. That is really excellent racing between those two.
Next up for McDonald is the class leader, Kyle Washington, who is a considerable chunk ahead, about 19 seconds further up the road with just 27 minutes to go.
Ellis continues to charge. He needs a yellow. Going to struggle to get to those podium positions with this green flag race so far.
Gray Newell saw that late move coming and deftly moved aside. He knows there's no stopping Philip Ellis when he's coming through the field, so a change in position there. 6th and 7th, swapping hands. Philip Ellis up another spot as his co-driver Jeff Burton watches.
Looking at the math there, what, 26 minutes to go. He is 17 seconds behind Rothberg. That's something that Turner Motorsports boys have got to be worried about. If Ellis can catch him and get in front, if he gets in front of both he and McDonald, that doesn't hurt, but if he splits them, that could be huge.
Coleman settling back in the rhythm. What was his last lap time coming back through? That was back up to the 26s. So here comes Rothberg now, running into 23s. It'll take him long to arrive on the doorstep, but as we saw, Todd Coleman not an easy guy to get around and has every incentive to fight for this podium spot.
This is so important for Rothberg here. He can't afford to get stymied like McDonald did. McDonald's already run the lap times in the 23.6 range, so now he's got clean air. I don't think Rothberg is going to catch McDonald. He needs to keep pushing, clear Coleman as fast as he can, because potential Ellis could catch him.
Yeah, that's what they need to be monitoring. How quickly is Philip Ellis catching up? Can Justin Rothberg get this move made with celerity? Can he do it quicker than his rival McDonald, who is catching Kyle Washington? Sedgwick has gotten by for 2nd overall. Washington now sits 3rd overall, but leads in Pro-Am, and the gap is shrinking. It's now only 15 seconds, Washington to McDonald.
Yeah, looking at the math, I think Rothberg's in trouble. I think Ellis, at the pace that he has, the amount of laps left in this race, is going to catch him. His last lap is about 1.5 seconds quicker. And we've got about 16 laps, 17 laps or more to go in this race. A 1.5 second margin, that's a huge delta.
Right now, though, the mission is to get around the McLaren. Rothberg in the tire tracks. Up Todd Coleman. It's a decent run up the hill, but still too far in arrears to mount any kind of challenge.
Well, we talk about that McLaren. Todd's done a great job with the abilities of that car as well. He's the man behind the wheel, but that McLaren is super strong in these brake zones, and even with the BMW power, he's going to struggle to match the braking abilities of that McLaren into the overtaking spots on this racetrack.
That has been the strength of the McLaren package this year. Talking to Todd, talking with Aaron Thielitz, they've said the same thing. Mike Johnson as well, who oversees the Archangel Motorsports team. It's going to take some bravery from Rothberg. Again, he's close, but again, not close enough. Coleman neat and tidy through this tight, twisty section. It's also bringing Kenton Cook up a little bit closer, and Kenton won't want to waste any time either coming through these two, fighting as they may be for position.
Yeah, it's such a shame for the random Vandals team, because looking at the fastest laps of the day, the 99 car has it at 21.6, and the sister car has also got a 21.6 on the board, so Ellis in the same range. So question of what might have been for the two BMWs in the green and white livery here today.
Now, my question is, what happened? We still don't know. Both cars had to come into the pits and top off with fuel before the first stint was even close to being complete.
Yeah, we're hearing rumors that the team manager there was not very happy after those cars hit pit lanes. You got to wonder whether there was some miscommunication. Someone didn't do their job in prepping the cars for race 2 here this weekend.
For a team that has been so buttoned up all year, yeah, that is a shot in the gut if that is indeed what took place. Third car entering the picture is Kenton Cook, 3rd place in the pro class. One of those cars we were talking about that was delayed. Rothberg isn't going to want to cut too much slack, you wouldn't think, but does duck out of the way. Maybe he's hoping Kenton opens up a gap.
I'm not understanding that. I wouldn't have given him that much. I mean, look how much gap he's created between himself and Todd Coleman. I don't understand that strategy.
Cost him a ton of time.
I think what he needs to do when Philip Ellis gets to him is almost wave him by. Go chase down Blake McDonald.
Yeah.
You know, so Rothberg can afford to sit right on the tail of Coleman, knowing that Coleman's got that post-race penalty to serve, but he'd love to just get by him to make that math a little bit easier.
Aaron Thielitz on the radio with Todd Coleman. Looking at our race vision powered by AWS. Top speed belongs to the BMW of Kenton Cook, 146 miles per hour. Scott Dollahite and that Mustang, 144, joined on that level by a few other cars. And that at a track where you really have precious little real estate to let the car stretch its legs.
Next on Ellis's list is Jason Daskalos, just a couple of seconds up the road, and then right now the gap between Rothberg and Ellis is just 6 seconds. And I think the good news for Turner Motorsports, there's enough time left on the clock here for Ellis to get to McDonald as well. I think Washington too far down the road? I think so.
Yeah, probably so. Ellis catching Jason Daskalos now. We've seen Jason in this position a few times this year. He doesn't roll over for his belly to get scratched. He's going to fight for this position. This is for class position, albeit the two cars on slightly different strategies. That said, CRP, not really a big gap between their two drivers, so I'm not sure that you could really say they're on one strategy or the other. But Daskalos, he's a tough guy to get around. He's a scrapper.
Right now, Ellis is 27 seconds back of the Pro-Am leader. That's Carl Washington. And I'd anticipate we've got about 14, 15 laps to go maybe in this race.
Yep.
So if he got a 2-second advantage, there is enough time to catch Washington.
Wow.
Unless he gets stymied too much. Let's look at the gap. Last lap for Washington at 24.5. Ellis at 22.2.
Okay.
He's got more than that margin, so it is game on for the win potentially.
But it really depends on how quickly he can resolve this battle here with Daskalos, who is not going to be easy to pass.
He isn't, but Ellis will send it. He knows that win is potentially there, and this is set up by Jeff Burton's performance in the first half of this race. His pace today, so much better than yesterday, creates this scenario for Ellis to go to work.
And we really can't judge the pace yesterday too harshly either, because he was doing it on double stinted tires.
Great point.
So he did well with what he had. It was a roll of the dice strategically that came up snake eyes. But now this is crucial. How quickly can Ellis dispatch of Jason Daskalos?
Look like sister cars, don't they?
They
With
do.
delivery head on.
That maybe complicates this a little bit more when you're up against the same brand. You don't have different strengths and weaknesses to try and exploit.
Possibly, and Daskalos isn't hanging around. He just did a 23.2 on the last lap, so it's only a 1-second delta in terms of pace here right now. It's not like he's 3 seconds faster than Jason immediately in front of him.
Yeah, this battle very quickly could end up tripping over the Rothberg-Coleman fight. That's growing increasingly close in front of the windscreen.
And I've just been doing rough math. You know regulated racing will have it detailed every step of the way. Oh, that was close there with Rothberg. Almost ran into the back Coleman there. But regulator racing will be giving Philip Ellis what he needs to do, what the gap is. He can see the cars in front of him. He's just got to chase them down and go get them. He wants to know how far in front the Pro-Am leader is. They'd love another win here.
They've done it before, this alternate strategy. Typically in race 2, it takes a caution, but with Jeff Burton's pace, with Philip Ellis's pace, it's in the cards potentially, even without a safety car intervention here today. But he's got to get through the traffic, and it's taken him a couple of laps already.
Watch, I think up in 15 and 16, 17 areas where he's going to try and make a move. I think he's going to try and hold it tight through here and see if he dives down to the inside in this next corner, see how close he gets. I think he's just going to send it right here. Ooh, not close enough. Jason's doing a good job. He's got good pace there in the CRP Mercedes. This is not what Ellis needs. This could be a lifesaver for Kyle Washington and Tom Sargent and GMG to hang on to this win.
More traffic looms ahead as well in the form of Jay Schreibman, which this entire pack is catching hand over fist. So that's another wrinkle potentially for all of these Pro-Am cars to try and contend with. Here they come. They've caught Schreibman now, just like that. Here comes Ellis looking to the inside of Daskalos, who gives him space.
Yeah, not a lot of space. Ellis is trying to create space. He's going to try and send it. This could get really dicey if he tries an outside move here. No. Yeah, his last lap was actually a sniff slower than Daskalos. Nothing to choose between them, but he just can't run over the top of him, and Jason's just hitting his marks and not relenting.
This whole pack now behind Schreibman, who's driving well this weekend.
This is crucial right here for Ellis. He's got to be closer to Daskalos as they come through this little sector. So as they climb the hill, do exactly what he did on the previous lap, but be close enough to make it stick.
Oh, they're all going to bottle up here because Rothberg took a furtive look at Coleman.
Daskalos is going to do what Ellis tried to do on him. He makes it stick. Rothberg gives him the lane. Here comes Ellis. He's got a head of steam.
Philip Ellis to the inside. Look at that power in the BMW.
Oh, watch the Ferrari.
And Schreibman is off the pace in front of them. That forces Rothberg to bail out. It gives Ellis at least one spot, but he's still stuck behind Daskalos.
That was sketchy right there. Jay just trying to do the right thing. Just said, I'll lift off and let you guys have it on the straightaway, but there was 2 lanes of traffic.
Oh. Bill Oberlin starting to close in on this battle pack as well in a Pro Class entry. So now Daskalos sizing up Coleman with Ellis in his rearview mirror. Ellis with a decent run. He thought about the outside move through here the last time. Will he actually give it a go this time? Not close enough to get alongside.
This is a battle for P3 in class right now, so we're looking at a podium for all of these cars immediately in this picture. Coleman again has that 2-second penalty that he's got to serve 2 and a bit for being just underneath the minimum stop time here today. doing a great job of hanging on. Todd Coleman's doing a brilliant job.
Yeah.
But these cars behind him are getting quicker and quicker as they cut their way through the field. Daskalow's right up the tail of the McLaren. Ellis trying to time the run.
And remember, this has dropped Rothberg back to 6th. It's a massive points loss to McDonald, who still is 2nd and is closing in on Kyle Washington. Only 4 seconds back now, right, for the lead in Pro-Am?
Yeah, he just ran a lap of 22.8, so kind of lost in the shuffle there. We haven't been focused on that. Thinking about Philip Ellis getting to the leader. This could be a massive day for the 11 squad. Rothberg's got to get up on the wheel here. He really needs Ellis to go chase down those leaders and get the maximum points away from potentially the 11 car. And Washington's got to dig deeper. He just did a lap in the 25s. That's not going to get it done. There was a 2.4 second delta between the two Pro-Am leaders there, with McDonald being quicker, running in P2.
Yeah, we're just a couple of laps away from that battle breaking out. Meanwhile, Daskalos maybe slipping up a little, drop the right sides in the dust. Here comes Ellis, juking to the inside, but again, can't put the move on the veteran Jason Daskalos. And Todd Coleman, all of this time, scrapping, clawing, fighting, trying to get his first podium of the season.
Jason Daskalos, this is awesome. You put him behind a wheel, he is not intimidated in the least. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to in the paddock, but put the helmet on, he's a different animal.
Yeah, now he's got to get by Todd Coleman. Right now, if he could run in that position, he'd get the spot because of the penalty to Coleman, the time penalty for the pit stop, but that's not a guarantee that he can hang on with Ellis behind him. Meanwhile, here we go, fight for first hotting up. Kyle Washington in the Porsche, but Blake McDonald has nearly run him down. For DXDT Racing, they know they have to capitalize on this day in which we saw the slow pit stop really cripple Turner Motorsports Day. Can DXDT score maximum points?
Well, we saw Kyle Washington suddenly find a chunk of time in the middle of that GT America race this morning. He's got to get into that same rhythm. Otherwise, he's super vulnerable. McDonald had to give a quick lift there as he came through the museum turn, but he's done a great job clearing that Pro-Am pack and chasing down the leader. He knows there's a huge day in this championship.
Massive, massive. If he can get that spot, if he can take that lead, it's 7 additional points toward the tally. Meantime, this battle pack not going anywhere. Joining the fun is Bill Auberlen, who's already gotten around Justin Rothberg. But in front of them for the lead in the class, Kyle Washington now has been caught by Blake McDonald and will need to hang on for the next 12.5 minutes.
This is going to be a fight. Going to be a big fight. Right now, it's a potential 17-point swing. If McDonald can get around Washington, at the moment it's just 10. That'll gain on Rothberg and Foley. Still a big day, but he wants those extra 7 points in a big way.
10 points would drop the deficit to 28. 17 down to 21. That is massive. Oh, Coleman's been passed by Daskalos. Here comes Auberlen. He's to the inside of Ellis. Now he'll look to the inside of Coleman, and Ellis will try to follow him through.
Yeah, this is really complicated things here for Ellis. So Auberlen took advantage of that traffic situation. Ellis looks to the inside. Rothberg is right now there with Ellis. I think this traffic is just curtailed. Ellis has thought of a victory here. Looked good on paper, but as you said, rightly so, Ryan, he's got to cut through the traffic, and he got stymied.
Coleman guards the inside. Meanwhile, here comes McDonald. He's to the flank of the Porsche, but you can't make it work too wide through that quick switchback. Now onto the back straight once again as the Corvette driver has to settle back in line.
Oh, by the way, Mackay Stevens has a 31-second lead up front.
Domination from JMF. They too are doing everything that they need to do to stay in the pro class hunt. Same story here for Blake McDonald. If he can get one more position, make one more pass, then they are within 21 points of the championship lead with a double points race still to go.
Okay, well, Kyle Washington would have got the message from the pit wall. He certainly got the message right now in terms of that. Oh, little bobble there, nearly loses it, gets it back together. Just had a little twitch there, got on the brakes, and this is going to be really close there, almost touched there through turn 4.
Now how will Kenton Cook play this? Will he get involved? Yes, he will. Carves to the inside, gets around McDonald.
Wide again.
Now to the inside of Washington. Does that open the door for McDonald? Not so fast. Pretty good sprint off the corner there for Washington. That might keep Kenton Cook at bay.
Washington has missed his braking point a couple of times, up into turn 2 and then down into turn 5. He's got to get it back together, get back into his rhythm, hit his marks like he did this morning. He can still win this race, can't afford any mistakes.
Tough situation here, having a pro class car running him down. If he's going to be passed, it has to be at a place of his time and choosing. Will Kenton Cook force the issue? Yes, but Washington's able to slot back in line. Ellis is clear of Coleman now. Rothberg tucks in behind to take another shot at Todd. But he's watching the points slip through his fingers.
Daskalos has skipped up the road. See him running there in 6th, 3rd in Pro-Am right now. Time is starting to run out for Blake McDonald. At 6 or 7 laps here to the checkered flag, he's got to figure this puzzle out. How does he get in front of that GMG Porsche?
How frustrating that must have been. Kyle had the little slip up, but both cars had to check up, and then the out-of-class traffic got mixed in, and it didn't present the opportunity that it might have for Blake McDonald 1 lap ago. Nine minutes to go. Philip Ellis giving it everything he's got, and look at this, Cal. Oh my goodness.
Almost a cut and paste from yesterday, even more extreme, I think.
Wow.
He's going to be frustrated. I mean, you can't get so aggressive and dirty. You're taking cars out, and he just couldn't find a way through that traffic cleanly. I think his shot at a victory is over. Really got to push hard to even get on the podium right now.
Well, he's got to get by Jason Daskalos to get on the podium, which we have seen. You cannot count on. Give Jason all the credit in the world. He's been awesome. Driving a rear guard action is, whoa. The nose nearly chopped off.
He's really what? He's going to be so slow on the front straightaway. McDonald has to time this.
And he might have. He got a good run out of the final corner. Washington sees him coming, has no recourse but to give up the inside line. Now they'll go side by side for the lead of the race in Pro-Am. McDonald late on the brakes. Does he get the speed arrested? Yes, he does. Blake McDonald has taken DXDT Racing to the point.
Awesome anticipation there as his teammate Matt Bell watches. David Askew in the backdrop has a big smile on his face. This is a huge day, huge point swing in the championship in Pro-Am.
Remarkably laconic outlook there for Matt Bell. Not phased at all, just sent a message over the radio to his driver Blake McDonald to settle in and push on. He knows the job's not quite done yet, but this is exactly the result they need, especially with the Turner car stuck down the order. Daskalos with a twitch. Here comes Ellis now. He's caught him again. Can he get by?
This is fantastic. And these guys are about 18 seconds behind Kyle Washington, and I don't think there's enough time on the board to catch him. So this is a battle for the final podium spot.
Daskalos and Sherman, in their first year in GT World Challenge America, have just one podium. They were runners-up in race 2 at Circuit of the Americas. They would desperately love to add another one before the season is through, but they need to hang on for another 7 minutes up against perhaps the fastest GT driver anywhere on the planet in Philip Ellis.
Yeah, I spoke to Nick Short about this exact scenario, and he said, you know, for my drivers, they're never in a race car. They sit in a race car 7 times a year. Guys like Philip Ellis, it's every week or every other week. They're always behind the wheel of one of these AMG Mercedes. This is the drive of his life here for Jason Daskalos. So hold off Philip Ellis for this long. Amazing, amazing stuff.
6.5 more minutes to do it. It won't be easy. Ellis is there filling up the mirrors. In the meantime, this is the overall leader of the race coming through to put some of these Pro-Am battles a lap down. Mackay Stevens with nearly a 30-second lead for the JMF Motorsports team.
Ellis, he just can't figure it out. Daskalos slips a little bit. Ellis is going to be alongside. This could be it.
Finally, Ellis is able to get alongside, but he's stuck on the outside now for the upcoming corner. It takes a lot of bravery to try and make it hang around the outside, and Ellis can't do it.
I love it. Daskalos just, you could see the nose dip on that Mercedes. He took the braking in so deep, had the inside line, knew that if he just got forceful, he could maintain that position.
Daskalos hanging on. trying to secure a second podium of the season. He and his co-driver, Isaac Sherman, they were both in GT America last year, single driver. Very nearly a champion last year in the SRO3 category was Jason Daskalos. He won 6 races. His teammate Isaac Sherman won the GT4 title and won 13 races, but they're going to have to hang on here if they're going to take another trophy home today. Again, Ellis looks, and again he's denied.
Daskalos has just got too much pace. He's just rolling too much speed. These are passes like you saw him attempt there that he normally makes because the other drivers he's around don't have that rolling speed through the apex. And Daskalos is just not slowing down enough for him to be able to finish off the move. This is fantastic.
All year long, have you seen anyone keep Philip Ellis at bay?
No.
I think not.
No, it doesn't matter what your name is, Philip Ellis. He normally figures out a way. Probably used his tires up a lot. They certainly switched tires. They're not double stinting here today with Philip Ellis behind the wheel, but nonetheless, it was a hard charge. Daskalos continues to hold on.
Off screen, we've got an incident under review involving Rothberg and Coleman. Coleman has dropped all the way down to 12th overall now. Rothberg has continued on. He's got the position, but again, whatever happened, it has the eyes of race control.
That's the last thing that the 29 squad need as a potential penalty here, so we'll have to wait and see what happened there.
4 minutes to go. Final 90-minute race of the season. Just 8 hours at Indianapolis. Still to come in 2025 with double points on offer. Daskalos slips a little bit wide. Does this present Ellis the opportunity? Again, Daskalos shuts the door in the face of the Swiss.
What a motor race. Fantastic. You'd think that'd be 2 AMG pros. There's just one. And a driver who ran in GT America last year and had heartbreak, just missing out on a championship. It's been a tough year so far for Daskalos and Sherman, but this is reward. Look at his teammate, big smile on his face. This team is going to be so proud of this performance here today.
Longtime crew chief at CRP Racing, Sheldon Miller, was battling cancer throughout the year last year. He was their inspiration. We lost him in the offseason. You have to believe they're thinking about him right now. Daskalos wanted so desperately to deliver the championship in his honor a year ago. Denied in the final weekend of the season, but now possibly driving the race of his life with factory driver Philip Ellis breathing down his neck.
Oh, Ellis there had to tap the brakes. He was going in no man's land. There was nowhere to go with that move unless someone just gives it to you, and Daskalos has already shown today he's not going to give him anything. He wants this podium in the worst possible way.
This is 3rd and 4th in Pro-Am, but it means so much more than just that to CRP Racing. Just a few laps to go. Does he have enough? Is there enough in the tank for Daskalos? Once again, he fends off the thrust from Philip Ellis, and with 2.5 minutes to go, it's still CRP Racing hanging on to the final step on the rostrum.
Look at this. This is awesome. Let's take a look and see what happened between Rothberg and Coleman here from a few moments ago. Is there going to be any blame laid on the door of the 29 squad? We look to the inside. There was obviously contact there. He's getting desperate. He knew the team would have told him that Coleman's got to serve a 2-second post-race penalty. Didn't have to pass him.
Yeah, hard to tell with that look, unfortunately.
I think the concern is they're worried about Newell and Nunez maybe getting to Rothberg as well. So maybe they said you got to get by him, otherwise you're vulnerable to more cars from behind.
Mackay Stevens, also in a Mercedes, continues to lead in the Pro class by 30 seconds over Alex Sedgwick in the RS1 Porsche. Ellis looking left and looking right, but just not a glimmer of hope. No room to try and make a lunge. Kenton Cook is up to 3rd again, trying that recovery for Random Vandals. Ellis lets it slip out a little bit wide, trying to time up the exit, trying to time this run. The door is open wide, and Ellis throws it in there, but still cannot get through. Jason Daskalos holds him off yet again with 1 minute to go.
Wow, he's thrown everything but the kitchen sink at Jason Daskalos, and he hangs on to it. Not intimidated, hitting his marks perfectly, rolling speed. Typically you crack under this sort of pressure. Oh, Ellis is off the road.
A little reprieve, however temporary, for Jason Daskalos. We're on the final lap. Daskalos will have seen just about everything that Philip Ellis can throw his way. Can he parry one last thrust?
This is awesome. Oh, what a result this could be for CRP. Jason Daskalos hanging on. Ellis is going to try everything here, trying to massage his lines here to just to be a little more efficient on the exit.
I don't think this is the final lap for these two. The overall leader is just behind them, so it's not done yet. Checkered flag will wave just behind these two for Mackay Stevens, but they'll have 2.3 additional miles to duke it out for that final podium spot. Again, Ellis lets it drift wide. Again, he rolls a lot of speed into this final complex. He's been close. He's been alongside,
Here
but
he
he's
goes.
not
He's
been able
going
to
to
get
send
the
it right
move.
now. Oh, he gets into him. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Oh, man. I think Ellis is slowed down. I think he's almost slowing down. I hope the Daskalos can get going again.
The checkered flag waves for Mackay Stevens to Mikhail Grenier. That brings them closer in the title hunt. They'll have a chance to go for a GT3 championship in their first year of GT3 racing at the Indianapolis 8 Hour. Who comes across the line in second? Well, Rothberg actually got around both Ellis. This is wild. Rothberg ends up third somehow.
But we've got that incident under review.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay, Rothberg third, Ellis fourth, Nunez fifth, Newell, Coleman, Daskalos still shown as stopped on the track from the precipice of that podium. Now he's shown in third.
Yeah, showing Daskalos. Ellis. Did Ellis stop on the side of the road to allow Jason back by him? He slowed dramatically. I'm not sure whether that's because of damage or he just said, you know what, I want to give you the position back.
Yeah, not sure about it either, but what we do know is Blake McDonald put in the drive of his life, charging through the field. He'll take the checkered flag and win in the Pro-Am class. Narrows the gap to Rothberg and Foley. Washington a strong fighting second here today. The question, though, is how much ground did McDonald and Bell make up? Because we still don't know where Rothberg will be credited. He crossed the line fourth, but there is still an incident under review, and it will be reviewed post-race. Same for the contact between the 91 and the 27.
Well, the fortunate thing for Jason Daskalos is he grabbed up podium. That would have been a bit of disappointment. I got a feeling that Ellis just parked it or slowed down enough for Jason to get, but I think he knew he made a mistake and he thought he had another lap to go as well. That would be my guess on that one. He's got power. I think he just wanted to give the position back.
Yes.
Be curious to talk to Philip as well if we have time, because I'd love to get his insight on what happened post-incident.
It was so close. Such a good battle, and it looked like Philip just misjudged the run. He got a good run. The timing was excellent until it wasn't. Just a little bit too close, too much contact. Lost in all of that. Congratulations to Scott Dollarhide and Eric Powell. They get a second straight win in the AM class, and with that, they should take the lead in the AM class points.
Yes, they should, by 3.5 points. Came in 3.5 behind, 7-point swing. All to play for at Indy.
Winner take all, effectively.
Basically, yeah. Unless we have some more AM entries, but yeah, mano a mano at Indy. 8 hours to survive, though, not easy.
And imagine being the third driver that gets drafted in, and you've got a part to play in a championship battle that's raged on for the better part of the season. We know it'll be Stefano Gattuso in the Mustang for Dollarhide Racing. TBD on who will join Jay Schreiben and Oz Negri in the Ferrari. As drama-filled as this race was, I don't know that Mikhail Grenier or Mackay Stevens had any idea about any of it. They were that far ahead, that much in control. This was a weekend, this was a race set up in qualifying with Mikhail Grenier's pole position. He did his job, and then Mackay Stevens finished it off, rewarding John Farrow in a big way. Mackay was part of this team when they were founded. One of the first people that John Farrow gave a lifeline to, and Mackay, weekend after weekend, has paid him off as only a racer can do with wins and podiums.
Yeah, huge day, 10-point swing, 15-point margin going to Indy, double points there, so the gap between first and second is 14-point swing, means if JMF wins, the 99 cars that finish right behind them hang on to that championship lead.
One other incident is under review, believe it or not, from that final lap. That was Nunez and Newell, evidently. They finished 6th and 7th. If we get information about that, we'll pass it along to you. And Amanda did check with the Regulator Racing team, and she does confirm that Philip Ellis did stop intentionally after that contact. These are the provisional, and I stress provisional, race results with at least 2 incidents that will be reviewed post-race and another one that is currently pending. But I think we can say with some confidence that Mackay Stevens and Mikael Grenier win this race overall. They do it by 28 seconds over RS1's Alex Sedgwick and Jan Heylen, Kitten Cook, Connor DeFilippi. What might have been? That car was so fast, but an unscheduled pit stop in the first half cost them dearly.
Yeah, it certainly did. And thinking about the Rothberg, if there is a penalty, the minimum normally is 5 seconds. That could drop him 2 positions.
Yeah.
Big point swing there, potentially. We're waiting here.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to know during this broadcast, I'm afraid. So keep an eye on your GT World Powered by SRO app for all the latest news. Should also mention, down in 13th and 15th, the 2 M-Class cars, Eric Powell, Scott Dahlheit from pole position controlled the race. They take a 2nd straight win, and they take the championship lead heading into the Indy 8 Hour coming up next month. Time to hear from our race winners with Amanda.
Well, Mick Mackay told me to start with you, and when you think of what this team was able to pull off today and the execution that we saw, why should that make everyone scared in Indy?
I mean, I think we will have a good car in Indy, a good crew, a good third driver that will join us as well. We had a good test there. I think the team is ready. We had a good season so far. I think today was our best race overall. Started from the lead. Mackay was super quick as well, good pit stop. So I think we're ready to fight for the last race of the season in Indy.
Mackay, I believe you had a gap of 28 seconds at the end, and there were only 6 cars on the lead lap, including yourself. You were a guy that mentally trains for situations. What was running through your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. That was really tough, and it's always a first-time experience to have the privilege to be so far ahead, and credit to this team and credit to the stint that Mick put up in the first go. And also it means a lot when you beat worthy competitors, because we have a great deal of respect for everybody who's involved. But for myself, you know, it was certainly a race against the inner me, but looking forward to what's to come in the future, and obviously as we take it to Indy, it's just nice to keep hope alive.
Thank you, guys, and congratulations as we head to Indianapolis. The storylines are aplenty for us, especially when it comes to the Pro-Am category, and the masterful job by Matt Bell and Blake McDonald. And you guys being able to take advantage of the BMW that had issues here today, how crucial is that?
Critical, yeah. I don't know if we could have got around them on track. So it took that pit stop from them for us to get around them. And luckily, we got all the way to the front.
Blake, I'll tell you, I stopped by your team a couple times, and Matt, I know you guys were just so excited watching what that man did on track today. How much confidence does that give you ahead of the 8 Hour?
Yeah, massive. Blake put in a fantastic performance today. It was a brilliant drive, one of the best I've seen him do all season. He's been growing all the way through the season and really getting to grips with the Corvette GT3 car here. And we're both really clicking at the right part of the season. So, you know, there's been a few factors out of our hands that have been challenging this weekend, but to finish it off with a win, yeah, testament to the team effort, and never say die attitude. So we're ready for the 8 Hour.
Well, the countdown to October is on, and it's especially on in the Ford versus Ferrari battle as we see Ford Racing make the sweep here this weekend. And guys, I know we've talked about the story of what it took, of the effort of get you guys back here. Could you have imagined this would have been the result, Scott?
This was definitely the goal. You know, it's racing, anything can happen, but, you know, like I said yesterday, we have the best team on the planet to help us get this thing done, and now we get to go into Indy with a championship lead, which we're very proud of.
Eric, when you think of this weekend for yourself, what will be the highlight for you leaving?
The highlight's definitely getting Scott back in the championship lead. Just super happy to be a part of it. That was a fun race there, and, you know, got to make up a lot of positions on the start when everyone was defending down the inside of 5, and I was like, you know what? I'll go around the outside. I think I got around 4 or 5 cars there, which was kind of fun. So,
Congratulations to Eric Powell. And while I still have this mic, where is Jason Daskalos? Please raise your hand, sir, for a moment that you had today. I was down by your team watching your effort, and we're very curious of what they're going to buy you for dinner. But to hold off a man like Philip Ellis, who did come over to you to talk to you post-race, Jason, where did that come from, sir?
Honestly, Philip is such a gentleman. You know, he didn't mean to do that, and for him to slow down for me to let me take third was amazing of him. And honestly, today's Sheldon's birthday, and the team got together, and we just tried extra hard today. We tried extra hard. And this one's for you, Shelly. I love you.
High emotions, as you'd expect. What a race. What a drive from Jason Daskalos. It's a shame it ended the way that it did, but that was absolutely tremendous, the way he held up one of the elite drivers in global GT racing. Now, this is what ultimately was the final lap. It wasn't necessarily going to be. How do you read it, Cal?
Well, I think Philip was just trying to get that huge run down the inside. He tried to anticipate that move several times before and wasn't close enough, and he just took a huge shot at it and just misjudged it. I mean, Jason was moving over to the right to set up for the corner. He got in the back of him, but as fast as Philip Ellis is behind the wheel, he's a fast thinker as well, and he knew he took a podium away from someone who desperately wanted to see it, and that was a classy move to give it back.
Well, post-race, we heard Jason allude to it. Philip Ellis knew what he had done. He knew the miscue, and he pulls over to the side of the road, stops before he crosses the timing line, and that allows Jason Daskalos to come through. It also allowed Justin Rothberg to come through. Let's file that away.
Yeah.
Now, it could all be for naught. It
Right.
depends on if there is a penalty, because we know Rothberg was involved in some contacts.
Let's not forget, Ellis could get a similar penalty.
True.
Even though he gave the position back, he could still cop a penalty for that.
Yeah, but if those, what would it be? What's the difference in 4th and 5th? 2 points?
Yeah. But what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because Rothberg, if they both get a 5-second penalty,
Correct.
the positions would stay the same.
Yeah. I see your point. Okay. Okay, well, nevertheless, dramatic end to this race. And if that's the send-off to the 90-minute race format, my goodness, this one had a little bit of everything.
That was wild. That battle between Daskalos and Ellis was epic.
For how long was that, 25 minutes?
Oh, that is one, you know, he'll be sitting on his sofa in 10, 20 years' time replaying that one. That was incredible.
I'd love to hear from Philip. Has anyone held you off in a race that long all year? I suspect it's no.
No, not in a similar race car.
No.
Just, maybe AMG will be on the phone this week to Daskalos saying, what are you doing next weekend?
Well, usually it's clairvoyant Cal over here, but I will say when he caught Daskalos, I did bring up the fact that I brought up the fact that Daskalos is a tough guy to get by, and we saw that on display.
Your M-Class team, Daniel Hunter from Dollarhide Racing.
Well, let's put the focus on the M-Class here for just a moment. What a great result. What a comeback as well for the Dollarhide team, isn't it? Because they had no car when we left Road America, right? They had to go down to Multimatic in North Carolina, build up this new chassis, and tell you what, it was ready from the word go.
It really was. It's a great story. Gives them the championship lead heading into Indianapolis. Going to be all about which car may have the advantage. Third drives are yet to be announced, so we'll wait and see what everyone shows up with, but it's certainly going to be a classic battle down to the wire. Just two cars pretty much all season long, but they've had a great fight. It couldn't get any tighter, 3.5-point margin heading to the final round of the championship season.
For sure, yeah. And I can't wait to hear who's going to be in the Ferrari. I know the Dollarhide guys had a couple of interesting ideas. I think they went with the safe choice to put Stefano Gattuso in the car, who's driven with them before, drives the car in Europe as well, so he knows the platform, knows the tire. But
Lewis Hamilton is not allowed by the regulations. But
that is true. You might be, though. You going to raise your hand?
I think I'm sure my grading it's not bronze. It might be lead. I'm not sure.
Oh, my. Georgina got a show today, didn't she? Watching from her famous vantage point.
In third place. Oh, we got to get the
Now, we talked about what the AM class situation is with Dollarhide vaulting ahead in the title chase, and it sets up effectively a winner-take-all race in Indianapolis. To the Pro-Am podium now, though. This might be the best third place we've seen all season. Dollarhide and Sherman, fantastic. Again, this is a small team. Yes, they've raced at this level before, but it's been a few years, and for two rookies in this series to put together some of the performances that they've had, it's just spectacular.
Yeah, it really was. Great performance by GMG. Just fell a little bit shy. Kyle Ever, smile on his face. Tom Sargent was flying here this weekend. Really strong effort from that group, but they just come up a little bit short on these two gentlemen who cut into that championship lead of Foley and Rothberg by a big chunk. Still waiting to hear on Rothberg whether he's going to suffer any sort of penalty. But as it sits right now, as a 13-point swing, that's pretty big.
For Kyle Washington and Tom Sargent, Cal, that is a second podium here this week, and they only had one coming into Barber. So to double that in one weekend, get the two here over the last 2 days, that's a sign, I think, that Kyle's back in his form.
Kyle's back, and they just nailed the setup, because if you look at the other Porsche that you expect to be running at the similar pace, the RS1 car, yeah, they finished second in class, a really solid day for them points-wise, but they did not have that edge in performance that the GMG boys had found. So hats off to the engineering team. Obviously, the feedback from the drivers delivers as well in terms of getting the car set up correctly.
And that'll be a photo that I think will go up on the wall in the CRP Racing shop. Now the change to the VP hats and another round of photos.
Thank you, drivers. Pirelli caps back on. And now it's the best part of the day.
And time for the champagne spray. Huge result for DXDT. That was a bit overshadowed by all the drama and fireworks we had late in the going. But that win did not necessarily look like it was on the cards when Blake McDonald jumped in that car, even with them vaulting Turner in the pit stops.
Yeah, he just stealth-like closed in on Washington. We were focused on the Ellis battle, looking at the math. Can he catch everybody? Then he got embroiled in that traffic situation. And meanwhile, DXDT followed up on sweeping the weekend here last year. Brilliant victory, and keep their hopes very much alive heading to Indianapolis.
That is going to be the topic of conversation. The pro class figures to be hotly contested, with entrants coming through the next, coming into that next round from all over the world as part of Intercontinental GT Challenge. Of course, Intercontinental GT Challenge has an upcoming round in Japan at Suzuka, the return of that famed endurance event as part of the IGTC calendar. Very exciting stuff. That will be next weekend in Japan. Here's a look at the Pro-Am standings, we think. Again, all of these results very provisional at this stage. Rothberg and Foley have a lead, but there is still an investigation pending of some contact in the final bit of this race. So we will soon see in the news what that's going to look like. But McDonald and Bell provisionally now 25 points behind. Burton and Ellis still a solid third. Washington and Sargent, by virtue of those two podiums, they do leapfrog up into fourth in points with a 10-point edge over Darren Turner and Gray Newell. But again, all of this can still change. There are 3 post-race reviews that will have to be dealt with before we can say with any finality what the results of this race were, and as a consequence, what the points look like going into the finale at Indianapolis. Tough weekend for Random Vandals in the final analysis. It didn't look like it was going to be that way. Kenton Cook and Connor DeFilippi, so strong yesterday, had to make the unexplained pit stop early in this race today. Never could quite recover. They could have used a yellow flag to bunch things up, but it didn't fall. RS1 was there to try and pick up the pieces a little bit. and did come home with another second-place result for Sedgwick and Halen, but they dropped further behind the Mackay Stevens and Mikhail Grenier pairing, which is probably the one group that has a shot to dethrone Connor DeFilippi and Kenton Cook. I want to thank our partners with the University of Alabama Birmingham Medical Group. We have a few dignitaries that have been passing out the trophies, including Michael Strawn, medical doctor and professor, Division of Gynecological Oncology, Chief of Medical Staff at UAB Hospital, Teresa Boitano, MD, and Marianne Hazabani, the president of Teal Wings of Hope. Great organization that we partnered up and raised some money for here this weekend, raising money and awareness for the fight against ovarian cancer.
While she's coming down, drivers, if you can switch on over to those VP Racing caps and raise those trophies again.
Pro Class Podium wrapping up. After a couple of more photos. Excited to see who turns up at Indianapolis this year. One difference from previous years, it's a unified pro class. Previously, they've been separated into Intercontinental GT Challenge Pro and North American Pro, because here in GT World Challenge America, a silver-graded driver is required in a pro lineup, and that is going to carry over across the board. So for everyone running a pro class car at Indy, a silver driver must be a component of that lineup. That will make the top class all the more compelling, I suspect, in the 8-hour finale. Here's a look at the way the points stand leaving Barber, and it is still a points lead for Connor DeFilippi and Kenton Cook, but it's narrowed, and it's narrowed considerably after that win for Mackay Stevens and Mikhail Grenier, just third-place points for the Vandals duo. Meanwhile, Sedgwick and Halen sit a distant third place, but mathematically still in the hunt going into the season finale. Bill Oberlin and Varun Chokshi, despite good pace here this weekend, don't have a whole lot to show for it. They end up in fourth in points going into the final race of the season. A wild race 2 this weekend started just over 90 minutes ago. Beautiful weather conditions, a nice breeze, and sunny skies overhead as the field of 15 rolled out from the pit lane. Saw the green flag wave. It was Mikhail Grenier from pole position, able to take the lead early. Eric Powell, very aggressive, picked up multiple spots on the opening lap. Leader in the M class, but running solidly mid-pack overall throughout his stint. Tom Sargent dominant in the Pro-Am class in his opening stint, set the table really well for Kyle Washington to go for a race win. Coming out of the pit stop shuffles, Washington losing the overall lead to the the Pro class leader, Mackay Stevens, who comes on through. Then it's Blake McDonald to the inside of Todd Coleman, as McDonald started his charge from 5th place. Once he left the pit lane, he would ultimately get all the way up to the front and take the win in Pro-Am with dramatic championship implications. This was a battle royale. 4 different cars in the Pro-Am class, plus an interloper from the Pro class, all mixed up in it at one point or another. We just couldn't take our eyes off of it. This was the pass, though, for the lead in Pro-Am, or at least an attempted pass for the lead. McDonald had to wait and let Kenton Cook go through on Kyle Washington, but he would line Kyle up and take his shot a few moments later. Philip Ellis setting off in pursuit of his quarry, had a wild ride. Todd Coleman went for his spin late. That incident still under review, as is this one. First time we'd had a look at that, but contact between the 24 and the A, of course, of Ferrari. This was on the final lap. Mackay Stevens came through untroubled to take the overall win. Philip Ellis stopped on track to let his rival Daskalos through. Rothberg came through as well to cap off a wild weekend of racing here at Barber Motorsports Park. Celebrations underway down in Parc Fermé. And now everyone turns their focus to the last 8 hours of the 2025 season. It's been fun, these sprint races to this point in the championship, but now it's an endurance test to cap it all off. And it's not just the finale for GT World Challenge America, but IGTC as well. You won't want to miss it from the famed Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see you there.